You were okay. Yeah, the first one. Okay. You were a kid. Okay. Thank you. Thank you that you have a camera on. Thank you, guys. Okay, I think we left on this one. Okay, we're talking about the residents' rights, los derechos de los residents. So that was page 12. So page 12, and we're talking about participate in their own care, participar en su propio cuidado. On top of the page 12, puede participar en su propio cuidado. It says that resident has the right to participate in their own care, in planning the care, the treatment, and be discharged. They can see their care plans and all the changes. Have the right to be informed the risks and the benefits of treatment. So le dan sus derechos para los beneficios y su tratamiento y ver el cuadro médico, including treatment options and alternatives. So I'm on page 12. Si ustedes lo miran en la página 12, including treatment options and alternatives. They have the right to request, to refuse, or to discontinue treatment and care. Se puede rehusar su tratamiento y su cuidado. They can refuse restraints, refuse to participate in experimental research. So they have the right. So we have to always ask them, can we do this? Are you ready for your shower? Are you ready for your dinner? Okay, make independent choices. They can choose. They can choose the type of food that they want to eat. They can choose the clothes that they want to wear. O sea, cuando uno saca la ropa de su closet, le dice, ¿quiere usar el azul o el amarillo? Which one? You always want to give them a choice. Do you want to wear blue or do you want to wear white? Give them a choice. If you're going to assist them with the meal, you're going to say, do you want to start with the meat, with the rice, with the potatoes? You give them choices. Siempre está dándole a escoger lo que ellos quieren. So this is very important. And the residents' rights, whenever you address the resident, you ask them, are you ready for your treatment? Are you ready for your care? Can we go ahead and do the shower? They have to agree so we can work together. Así trabajamos juntos. The right to privacy and confidentiality. Privacidad y la confidencia. Residents have the right to speak privately with anybody, and the right to privacy during their care, and the right to confidentiality regarding their aspect of their life. So their life is a private matter. O sea, todo lo que hacemos con ellos es privado. Entonces no estamos hablando con otras personas. So we're talking only to the care team members. Care team members is the people who take care of them during the medical care or the nursing home. So if I'm working with someone who's helping me with my patient, then that's part of my team. Solo con las personas con las que trabajo voy a hablar de mis pacientes. Outside work, then I cannot say, I have this patient and this diagnosis. I can say general, but I don't give specifics. No puedo decir algo específico de ellos, like their name, their diagnosis. Okay, so that's the confidentiality. The next one is right for dignity, respect, and freedom. Okay, again, it's on page 12. dignidad, respeto y libertad. So they said residents have the right to be respected, to be treated with dignity by the caregivers. Residents must not be abused, mistreated, or neglected in any way. O sea, dice que ellos no pueden ser abusados, maltratados o abandonados de ninguna forma. The right to their security or possessions. So residents' personal possessions must be safe at all times. So todo lo que entra al facility que pertenece a ellos no se puede perder. Look, if they bring dentures, if they bring glasses, if they bring hearing aids, clothes, it cannot be lost. We have to take care of them. A lot of times we put their name on their clothes in the back of the shirt or their dresses. We have to put their name. So we use a Sharpie and address that. So make sure that everything comes in, that we make an inventory. Hacemos inventario de lo que entra cuando hacemos admisión. When they're admitted into the nursing home, we make an inventory about everything that they bring. And so when they go home, everything has to go. ¿Sí? Cuando ellos se van, pues todo lo que entró tiene que salir. The same thing, if you're going to move them from one station to another one, or one floor to another floor, you have to pack everything and take it to that place and make sure you have everything. O sea, que no se les pierda nada. That's the rights. Security of their possessions. Okay, the next one is be informed and concerned to transfers or discharges. Estar informado con consentimiento cuando van a ser transferidos o cuando se van a su casa, que es, le dan alta, discharge. They can voice their complaints. They have a right to say, I don't like this food. They can say, I don't like this room. I want to change room. Ellos pueden decir, me quiero cambiar de recámara o de cuarto. They have a right to have visitors, family members, friends, priests, anybody who they want, they can come and visit. O sea, pueden tener visitantes. They have access to social services. Yes? What's your question?
Security of position. Could you please one more time explain the security of position?
The possession is everything that comes into the nursing facility cannot be lost. Clothes, dentures, glasses, personal things like their own phones, hearing aids, everything have to stay with them. Whatever comes into the nursing home have to stay with them. It cannot disappear. If it disappears, then the nursing home is liable. La responsabilidad del facility es del facility. Like if the glasses are lost, the facility have to pay for it. So this is like your home. This is like your home. Things cannot be lost. Nada se puede perder ahí. But sometimes it does happen. Things can happen, but the facility have to pay for it. If the dentures are lost, if the glasses are missing, si algo se pierde, they have to pay for it. Okay. Okay. They can voice their complaints. Pueden quejarse. I don't want this kind of food. I want different kind of food. They can complain. You can complain of, how you feel. They can voice their complaint, their grievances. La palabra grievances es las quejas. Cuando ellos se quejan, ellos tienen derecho a quejarse y a ser escuchados. Without the fear for their safety or their care. If they complain, they cannot be fearful about their placement. O sea, no los van a sacar de ahí porque están quejándose. They have to be safe. So if they have complaints, we have to work quickly to solve the issues. Tenemos que resolver los problemas. They have a right to visitors, pueden tener visitas, family members, representatives, legal representatives. The nation, origin, any sex, identities, they are welcome. They have a right to have social services, servicios sociables, counseling. Ellos pueden tener como ir a una terapia a resolver si ellos tienen problemas con otras personas. They can have counseling service, servicio de consejería. They can help and contact legal and financial professionals. Pueden agarrar a una persona profesional que les ayude también. So the fact that you went to the nursing home, it doesn't limit to your freedom. You can still move around, like if you can walk and you say, I want to go for lunch, I want to go out, you can. El residente no tiene limitaciones. Usted puede entrar y salir de ese nursing home si usted tiene la habilidad de hacerlo. I have seen people in the nursing home, they have their car outside and they go out and they come back. Pueden salir, pueden entrar. There's no restriction. As long as the doctor signs an order that it's okay for you to go in and to come back, it's okay. So we follow doctor's orders. Si ellos quieren salir, también pueden irse con su familia el fin de semana. So they can have the freedom to move around. They have the freedom to make choices. Ellos pueden escoger. They can choose their clothes to wear, what time they go to bed. They have, just like you were in your own apartment or in your own home, tienen muchos derechos. So we have to tell them when they come into the facility, and we have to give it to them in writing. So we give them a little, a letter and say, these are your rights, maybe 1-2 pages, and it tells all the rights. Todos los derechos de ellos están ahí. And if they have any concerns, they need to come to the administration and they can voice their complaint. Se pueden quejar también. Some people complain a lot, some people don't complain at all. So tenemos los extremos. Uno que por todo se quejan y otros no que no se quejan y ahí están pobrecitos y nunca dicen nada. So we have a different type, because we're all very unique. Somos diferentes todos. So when you go into the nursing home, you're going to see those rights in the wall. So ellos, los derechos de ellos los tienen ahí en los nursing facilities, ahí los tienen en la pared. Entonces usted los puede leer. Dice, how as a nursing assistant you can protect their rights? ¿Cómo podemos proteger los derechos de ellos? Any idea? How can we help them? How we can protect them?
Reporting any injustices.
Okay, reportando cualquier injusticia, dice ella. Okay. I can protect my resident by giving them choices. I can say, okay, miss, you want to take your shower? Do you want me to come at 9 or 9:30 or 10? What time do you want your shower? I'm protecting her because I'm giving her choices. Le estoy dando a escoger. If I say, okay, Mrs. Brown, you're going to wear pants or do you want to wear a dress? What do you want to wear today? Do you want white or you want blue? What color do you want your clothes? ¿Qué ropa se va a poner? Estoy protegiendo sus derechos. ¿Sí? If I'm going to give them a bath, I close the curtain because they have a right to have privacy. Tienen derecho a la privacidad, so yo corro la cortina. Or sometimes I'm allowed to close the door and I close the door. Because they have a right to have privacy. ¿Sí? And if they complain, I can go tell, okay, you want to talk to the nurse? Do you want to talk to the supervisor about the room being too cold or the medicine? You don't like the medicine? Cuando todas las quejas, entonces yo la reporto. My responsibility is always to report to the charge nurse. So siempre estoy reportando a la enfermera. So just think how you would like to be treated. The same way you want to treat others. ¿Sí? Tú los tratas bien, ellos van a trabajar contigo. If I can do a good work and that patient gets along with me, 50% of my job performance is going to be easier because the patient is going to work with me. Ese resident va a trabajar conmigo porque ellos quieren trabajar conmigo, porque ellos me han aceptado como su nurse. See, once they agree that they like that you care for them, they're going to be excited to see you every day. Ellos trabajan contigo, el trabajo es más fácil. Everything is about getting to know your patients, getting to know your residents. Conocerlos a ellos, ya ahí está, 50% tu trabajo está más fácil. Okay, here it says how we can protect them, and these are the guidelines on page 13. En la página 13, ustedes miran donde dice guidelines, protegiendo los derechos del resident. It says never abuse them in any way. No podemos abusar. Like if they scream, we're not going to scream back to them. O sea, si uno no grita, yo no voy a gritarle también, no me voy a poner allí al mismo nivel. Because, you know, I'm the nurse and she's the patient and they need my help. Maybe they're not okay mentally, maybe something is wrong. There is a reason why they are there. Porque son residentes, son pacientes, hay una razón por qué están ahí. Ellos necesitan ayuda. So I cannot take it get very emotional when they say something. I have to check with the nurse and say, you know, she's screaming, but I don't know why. I think something is wrong with her. Tal vez es una condición médica que ella tiene, o él. Okay, if you see somebody abusing them in any way, si están siendo abusados de alguna forma, what is our responsibility? ¿Cuál sería la responsabilidad de nosotros si usted está viendo abuso? Report it to the nurse. Because abuse take a lot of different phases. Hay muchas formas de abuso. I mean, people can abuse you verbally, they can abuse you emotional, they can abuse you financial. Son diferentes formas de abusar a una persona. And the people who are very fragile are the ones that can be targeted for abuse. So las personas que son frágiles, que no miran, que no oyen, que no saben, son las que pueden ser abusadas. So you have to report that. Involve the resident in planning. So again, if I'm going to go into the dining room and say, I'm going to take you to the dining room, where do you want to sit? Tal vez lo llevo al dining room para que coman y le digo, ¿se quiere sentar aquí o se quiere sentar allá? Always give them choices so they feel like they have a sense of control in their life. Como que ellos pueden controlar aunque sea un pedacito de su vida. You always want to explain what you do. You don't want someone to just walk in the room and uncover you from your bedding, from your sheet. ¿Quieres que alguien entre a tu dormitorio y te descubra completamente sin explicarte lo que va a hacer? No. You want to treat those people like you would like to be treated. That's why we keep saying respect and dignity. Hay que tratarlos como tú quieres ser tratado. So be aware of that, and that's what the state board is about. Okay? El Estado quiere que uno respetuoso, ¿no? Que haga buena comunicación con su resident. You must have a good communication. So we spend more time at work than we spend at home. ¿Sí? Estamos más tiempo en el trabajo que estamos en la casa. When you go to your house, you just go to sleep. A veces llegamos cansados, nos dormimos. And the rest of the day, you are at work. Estás trabajando. Entonces, make it easier. So make it like you want to go there. You don't want to hate to the place that you work. No tienes que ir a un lugar que odias ir para ahí. You know, I hate my work. I'm burned out. Porque vas a tener una actitud negativa si andas con la cara así como una cara de limón. How would you like to have a lemon face all the time and you say good morning, nobody say good morning to you? How would you feel about that? There's some people like that. I walk into a nursing facility and I say good morning and they don't even say good morning. And then all of a sudden, oh, miss, can you help me with this? Can you help me with that? But an hour ago, she will not even look at me. She will not acknowledge that I say hi. ¿Sí? Pero cuando te necesitan, ahí te buscan. You have to be respectful. No es que sea being nice, pero tienes que respetar. You know, because in this field, we need help from the housekeeping, from the laundry, from the kitchen. Necesitamos ayuda de todos estos departamentos. Y tenemos que trabajar en equipo. We have to work together. In this field, you don't work alone. No trabajamos solas. You work alone only if you work with computers. Even that, trabajas ahí en computadoras, ahí en un cuartito, ahí te encierras. But when you work with patients, with residents, you are working as a team. Somos un equipo. If you have a hard time with that, then you're going to have a hard time working in the field. ¿Sí? Si no quieres trabajar con otras personas, entonces se te va a hacer difícil ese trabajo. So you have to embrace people. Tienes que aceptar a las personas, trabajar juntas. Dice que el grupo, la fuerza la hacemos en equipo. Okay, so if I'm going to go and say, I'm going to give you a shower, I'm going to shave you, what time do you want me to do it? Do you want me to do it now? Do you want me to do it later? Explain to them, I'm here to help you to walk. We're going to do walking today. Exercise. Vamos a hacer el ejercicio. ¿Lo podemos hacer ya? Do you have any pain? Should I tell the nurse before you go anywhere? I'm going to transfer you. Lo voy a transferir. Si ellos no quieren, no se van a mover. If the patient doesn't want to get up, nothing is going to move them. You can't make them. No podemos forzar. Entonces, you want to get up? No, it's too cold. Do you want a shower? No, I don't take a shower today. I took it yesterday. Exactamente. Okay, a student here asks if they refuse shower, if they refuse to eat, if they refuse their activity, report to the nurse right away. We are the eyes and the ears of the team. Somos los ojos y los oídos del equipo médico. So that's part of your duties, ¿sí? Esa es parte de su trabajo. A la enfermera encargada, que sería la charge nurse. So you always say, who is the charge nurse? You're gonna know, because when you go to those places, whoever talks to you about the patient, you're gonna be having these 5 patients, 9 patients. She's the one who's gonna be in charge. Because you say, I'm the supervisor. I'm gonna give you your assignment. So tu asignatura de trabajo te la da la encargada. Y esa viene siendo la charge nurse. So just say, Mary, you have room 23, 24, 25, 26, en bed A, B, C. So cuando te dice, tienes 23, 24, 25, 26, son 4 cuartos. Y te dice A, B, C. En unos cuartos son 3, en unos cuartos son 2. So maybe you have 9 patients. So you have to know the first resident as you enter the room is letter A. Siempre cuando entramos al room, al cuarto o al dormitorio, el primer paciente siempre va a ser la letra A. The second patient is letter B. And if there's 3 patients in that room, the third patient is letter C. But they also have a bracelet or they have a name in the door. Tienen el nombre en la puerta y también andan con brazaletes, and sometimes their wheelchair has their name. And their clothes supposed to have their name too. See? And if you bring the food, it's supposed to have a name. Huh?
13.
We are talking about their rights, okay? We are working under the guidelines for protecting residents' rights. Okay, so you're gonna explain, you're never gonna expose them unnecessarily. So say unnecessarily expose the resident while giving the care. If I'm gonna give a bed bath, I'm not gonna take the sheet and uncover them completely. No le puedo sacar la sábana y le descubro todo su cuerpecito. I can't. If I'm gonna wash the the arm, I uncover the arm. If I'm gonna uncover the chest, I'm gonna wash the chest, uncover the chest. Never uncover the resident completely. Porque si usted lo descubre completamente, le puede dar una neumonía. The patient can get cold and the patient can get pneumonia. You don't want the patient to get sick because you took care of them. See? You have to expose the body part little by little. O sea, tiene que tener mucha, con mucha precaución. Respect the resident's refusal for care and report the refusal. See? If you're going to do something with them, an example, I'm going to brush your teeth. And they say, no, I don't want to brush my teeth. Tell the nurse they don't want to brush their teeth. No se quieren lavar la boca. Maybe they want to do it later. A veces no quieren ellos hacer nada. Ajá. Yeah, in this field you have to have a lot of patience. Tienes que tener mucha paciencia.
Do you also,
Yes?
do you also have to document everything, like if they refuse it, you document too, or?
The charting is very simple. It's not very complicated. It looks complicated, but it takes a couple of days, 2 or 3 days, and you're used to, we do a lot of check marks. Check. Chequeamos muchas, so they show you like the whole charting comes in the computer and it has shower, and it has maybe the head of the shower or and you just check, patient had a shower, or patient refused the shower, and you have to say report to the nurse. So tiene que poner aunque sea unas 2 palabritas. If there is something that you didn't do. Si no hiciste algo, pues si tienes que poner por qué no lo hiciste. If you didn't do something, like they say the patient refused to eat, then you say patient refused to eat, nurse in charge or charge nurse informed. Tiene que poner la enfermera ha sido notificada, el paciente no quiere comer ahora. And that sometimes happens because the family bring food and then they eat the family food and then they don't want to eat what they get from the kitchen. Like on the weekend. Sí, los fines de semana a veces la familia llega, le da de comer y cuando uno llega a la comida de la cocina ya no quieren. If they don't want to, then you can't make them. But you have to tell the nurse, you know, she refused to eat. She said that she ate already. She ate with the family. Que comió con la familia. And you just chart. Patient refused meal, but was ate with family members at 12 noon. Algo así. Okay, tell the nurse if there are questions and concerns or any complaints. Okay? Si hay quejas, si hay preguntas, si hay preocupaciones, si hay quejas, what are you going to do? Tell the nurse. Se reporta a la nurse. Okay, tell the nurse. Because we are the ears and the eyes and the ears of the team. Acuérdense lo que les enseñé ayer. Somos los ojos y los oídos del equipo médico. So whatever you see that is not normal, then you report it. Okay, so be careful when you document the care. Dice que tiene que tener cuidado para documentar todo, ¿no? El cuidado. Be truthful. Documente cuando ya lo hizo. Like, be truthful. The patient's blood pressure was 120/60. Something like that. Oh, that was the wrong blood pressure. Maybe I put it in the wrong file. Si a veces uno está pensando de un paciente y escribe la información de ese paciente. So you have to be careful when you document. You have to make sure it's the right patient, it's the right time. Es el tiempo correcto y que es el paciente correcto. Because even in the computer, you can, you might go and you think you're Mrs. Smith, but maybe it's Mrs. Brown. And you're writing, oh, she ate 100%, and maybe that belonged to the other chart. Tal vez pertenecía al otro expediente médico. And once you send the information, it goes to medical records. And then how do you get it back? So you have to talk to the nurse. Si usted se equivocó en escribir algo, entonces dígale a la enfermera, ya lo mandé, me lo puede regresar. She has to help you to retrieve the file so you can rewrite it. Okay, don't talk or gossip about the resident. O sea, dice no hablar, gossip es no criticar o no chismear acerca de los residentes. Residents are people like us. Some of them have their own ways. Hay unos que comen demasiado, unos que no comen, unos que se enojan por todo. Some people get mad for every little thing, some people don't. So they just say, don't make any comments outside the team, because, why tell your friends or family members about your resident? They don't even know that person. So, yeah. We cannot even take pictures with them. No podemos tomar fotos. So we have to keep a line between our relationship with them. Tenemos que mantener una línea profesional. You must be professional when you're dealing with them. So you can really be their friends because you are doing, work. Estoy trabajando con ellos. Entonces, either you're friend or you're professional because you're at work. It's a fine line. So, es una línea muy cerca del paciente. A veces ellos piensan que somos sus amigos. Because we shower them, we assist them with the meal, we walk them, we exercise them. They think that we are their friends sometimes. And sometimes because we have a friendship, they ask favors. Piden favores ellos. Hey, can you get me a pack of cigarettes when you go to the store? Is that your duty? ¿Es su trabajo ir a comprar cigarros para el patient? You see? And sometimes because they think that you are their friend, that you can do things like that. Hey, when you come in, can you get me an In-N-Out Burger? Because I don't want to eat lo que me van a dar hoy. ¿Me puede traer una hamburguesa? No. Yes. Yes. Reportar a la nurse. Exacto. Okay, so she's asking why if a patient is misbehaving and screaming and having a tantrum, what is the responsibility? Well, I told her we have to report to the nurse. And she said, what about if that person is in the home setting, en casa? Pues, when we work in the home setting, I don't know, I work under an agency, so I report to the agency. Yo reporto a la agencia todo lo que pasa ahí. Si el paciente está violento. Like if the patient is violent or is aggressive towards me, I report to the agency and I say, I don't think it's safe for me to come back tomorrow or I might need to leave, but I don't want to abandon this employment. Sí, a veces le digo, está agresivo y yo soy mujer, yo no creo que pueda manejar esa situación. So can you please send somebody else? Or I don't want to leave right away, but I don't want to get hurt. ¿Sí? Porque a veces los pacientes se ponen violentos. So I call the agency because I work with the agency. I guess if you work private, I will report it to the family. Puedo reportar a la familia. So it depends, depende on the estés. But in the nursing home, it's the charge nurse, la encargada. We usually get a little report before we take care of them. They tell us, oh, your patient has dementia, has Alzheimer's, you're gonna see patient is aggressive. A veces son agresivos. So you cannot go blind. Usted no puede ir y hacer las cosas sin saber la condición del resident. You have to know a little bit about, if not more. Tiene que saber muchas cosas. Okay, the next one is say knock and wait. Knock es tocar. Wait es esperar. Por permiso, dice. Before you enter the residence room. So you have to wait, you knock, and you say, may I come in? And you wait. How many minutes? How many seconds? 10, 20 seconds before you enter. Because maybe they're in a private conversation, Maybe they're undressed, something is going on. Si está cerrada la puerta es por alguna razón. Están haciendo algo privado. Maybe they're in the bathroom. Okay, so always ask permission antes de entrar. So always knock at the door and then wait and then go in. Entonces ya después entra. And then it tells you not to accept gifts or money from the residents. No acepte regalos ni dinero de su residente.
Yo tengo una duda. ¿Qué pasa si estás pidiendo permiso para entrar o tocas y no te contestan y estás tocando? ¿Se reporta también?
Esperas unos 20 segundos y puedes entrar, pero tienes que darle oportunidad al residente su privacidad. So, si ellos no contestan, si uno entra, pero despacio, abre la puerta o la cortina, pero despacio, sin asustarlos.
Ok. Porque en una emergencia o que se resbalen o algo y que no puedan responder a tu llamada, entonces...
Well, tú entras al cuarto y la persona está en el piso, entonces no lo puedes levantar. Tienes que presionar el botón para alarmar a la oficina que lleguen a ayudarte. So, if the patient is on the floor, you're gonna press the button to call the nurse and say, I need help because the patient is down. It's on the floor and I cannot leave the patient alone. O sea, la regla es que no lo dejes solo si él está en peligro. So if they're in the bathroom and they've fallen down, you have to stay with them until help arrives.
Okay.
¿Sí? Cuando llegue a nurse, another CNA, another person to help you, you can make sure that the nurse checks the patient before you get them up. Si están allí en el piso, no sabemos si hay fractura. So we don't know if there is a fracture. So what the nurse have to check before we can assist the resident to get up. Because they might say they are fine, but maybe later or tomorrow they're gonna say, oh, it was fracture. And you were involved into that, they might say, oh, we have to investigate why the patient was fractured. So just for your protection, ¿sí? Para protegerse usted, reporte y después que the nurse checks the patient, ya que lo chequeó la enfermera, ya lo asistimos a la silla de ruedas o a su cama. Don't take a chance. If they're down on the floor, something happened. Algo pasó y usted no puede ayudar, pero no es responsable de lo que pasó antes. So you're not responsible if they've been laying down for 10 minutes or 15 minutes. Maybe you just get into the job. Tal vez acabas de llegar. Yeah? So just to protect your stuff.
Excuse me, what is the what's the reason?
The charge nurse. We can yell, we can scream and say, help, the patient is down, like in the CPR, help, I need help. You know, call the nurse, or because in the nursing home there's a lot of nurses. Son equipos médicos ahí. You have to make sure that somebody's helping you. You don't do it yourself. Again, we're working as a team. Estamos trabajando en equipo. Okay? So we have to remember that. Que no estamos solos. Okay. Don't accept gifts. Don't accept money from the residents. Dice que no acepte propinas, dineros de los residents. Just because they might say financial abuse. Sí puede decir, oye, se llevó un dinero que yo le di. Tal vez ella se lo dio. Maybe the patient gave it to you, but the patient has Alzheimer's, ¿sí? Y se le olvidó que te lo dio. But you don't want to be accused about that, so don't get involved with the money. Que a veces se envuelve con dinero and then you become like their enemy. ¿Sí? Cuando hay dinero envuelto, if you lend money to people, sometimes you have problems. ¿Sí? A veces la gente se desaparece cuando uno presta dinero. I don't know if you know that. Some people will lose friends. Se pierden los amigos porque le prestaste $100. You lend a little money And the people never call you, never see you again because they owe you money. There's something about money. Don't open the mail and don't look through their personal belongings. O sea, no abrir su correo. Aquí es un delito en este país abrir el correo de otra persona. If it's your mail, you can open your mail. But if it's the resident's mail, it's their mail. Oh, but she gave it to me. She gave it to me. Make sure you tell the nurse, okay? Porque no, it's like, it's illegal for us to open other people's mail. You guys know that, ¿no? Saben que no podemos abrir el correo de otros.
Yes. Yes.
And don't look through their belongings. Oh, let's see what she has. She has I don't know, what are the brands? Hay unas marcas bien caras. But look what she has. I don't know. ¿Cuáles son las marcas caras? Ustedes lo tienen ahí, pues. Don't you guys have some? I'm sure you guys have. I see all the students with this very expensive stuff. Michael Kors shoes or something.
Yeah.
It's $100 or whatever. It belongs to them, so it's just like that. It said respect their possessions. Son sus cosas, pues hay que con cuidado, ¿no? If it's their clothes, hang it up in the closet. No debe estar tirado ahí. If it's on the chair, on the bed, maybe put it in a bag, put it in the closet. So we have some space, some room to work with. Tenemos espacio para trabajar con ellos. Okay, report any observations about the resident's condition and their care. Reporte observaciones de la condición de su patient, de su resident. Anything that you see that is not right. Help to resolve disputes, reporting them to the nurse. Si hay desacuerdos, okay, otra vez, reportar a la enfermera. Porque maybe she wants something and you can't do it because maybe it's not in your practice. I want you to give me an injection. Quiero que me dé una inyección usted porque usted es mi nurse. Pero yo no hago eso. I don't do that. But you're my friend and you're my nurse. I want you to do it. Pero if you don't know how to do it, tal vez usted no la agarraron para trabajar en eso. You were not hired to give injections to the group of patients there. It's not in the scope of practice for the CNA. Some people say, well, I know how to do it, but not at the work. En el trabajo no podemos hacer eso. Even if you know how to do it, because some people are nurses in other countries. Ustedes vienen y a veces son enfermeras ya y saben todo. Pero aquí hay limitaciones. We have to go by our scope of practice. These are my limits. Over there, I used to do IVs. Over there, I used to do injections. But over here, I'm new to the nation, I'm new to this country. I don't have a license to do it. No tengo la licencia que tenía allá. Aquí ya no lo puedo hacer porque es otra cosa. It's another country, it's another rules. I had to take the state board. So be aware that you have to be careful with yourself para que no se metan problemas. Because when you try to help, sometimes people take it for granted. Como que como uno no sabe, uno se puede meter en problemas. So if you don't know, you might get into problems because of that. Okay, so remember is to bring to the memory. So boundaries are limits to within the relationships. It's important not the NA to treat the residents with warm and caring, but the NA must not become personally involved with the residents. Professional boundaries help to support healthy resident-staff relationship. Boundaries son los límites en la relación. I can go and take care of my patient, but I'm not going to have a personal relationship with that patient. A veces el paciente dice, oh, tú me caes muy bien, yo quisiera casarme contigo, pero es mi paciente. I don't want to marry that guy. He was, well, I can take care of you, I have money, blah, blah, blah. No, because your relationship is to take care of him patient relationship, not in a personal level. See, you cannot marry somebody that you're taking care of. Y han habido casos que la gente dice, oye, me casé con mi paciente, you know? So, I marry my client and I move into his house. ¿Sí? Me moví a su casa. ¿Qué dice? Then they lose their CNA certification if they are doing stuff that is not supposed to be. Because you say, don't do it because it can put you into a situation. Why do you want to marry that person? Why would you want to marry your patient? I mean, it doesn't sound great. ¿Por qué te vas a casar con el paciente? Ay, que me va a dejar la casa.
Money.
En la casa, bueno, es otro rollo, pues. Why did you go and become a CNA if you wanted to do that?
Right. She was gonna make him the way iba a pasar ahorita, porque es más fácil así.
Something like that, yeah. I hear stories, people say, oh, I married him, or he bought me a car and stuff. He bought me my insurance and my car, but it's telling the state board, say, don't get involved because you can get into situations. Because the family might think you got into it because, the house, the money, something. Algo puede ser distorsionado ahí. La familia lo puede ver como que es algo de abuso. Like you're trying to take advantage of somebody. So stay within your bounds. Hay que tener límites, and then be warm, be caring, but don't get involved. Okay? Es como tener una línea. Professional is professional, personal is personal. So my life professional is when you are at work. No está en trabajo, es profesional. When you're at home, it's your family, it's personal. Es diferente. Mantener los límites para que usted esté bien. We have to protect ourselves. Hay mucha gente tremenda en este mundo. There's bad people, there's good people, but there's also bad people. Hay gente que puede tomar ventaja hasta de uno, ¿no? Yes, so be aware. So the boundaries are on page 13 at the bottom. Okay, boundaries. Let's see here. Okay. Okay, now we're gonna go into the abuse. The different abuses that you can see out there. Let's go to page 14, página 14. We're gonna talk about the different abuses, and it's important for you to know that. Es importante saber los diferentes abusos que vamos a ver ahí. I mean, hopefully you're not going to be involved in any, but sometimes you might be a witness. Usted puede a veces ser como un testigo de algo que pasó o algo que pasa en su trabajo. So abuse, the meaning of abuse is the purpose for mistreatment. Dice, un abuso es un maltrato. It could be physical, it could be mental, it could be emotional, or it could cause pain or injury. So puede ser físico, mental o emocional. Puede causar dolor y puede causar daños. Físicamente, ¿no? So abuse, it can take many faces. Son muchas caras del abuso. Some people say, well, I never was abused, but maybe you were abused verbally. Tal vez alguien le decía cosas feas a uno y uno dice, oh my God, no puedo creer que esa persona me abusaba. Sometimes we don't even know that we have abuse until we hear, can you abuse someone mentally? Sí, hay abuso verbal, que la gente habla y te está abusando. Sometimes you say, I don't want to talk about that. Solo con saber de que no quieres hablar de eso, quiere ser que puede haber un abuso o que ha habido un abuso en tu vida. Sometimes people say, I don't want to go there. It could be that maybe you don't want to talk about it because it could have touched your life at some level. Sí, puede haber tocado tu vida. Because sometimes, children, they say, oh, it's so cute when they are children, but children can be abused. Elderly can be abused. Los niños no saben, cuando no hablan, pueden ser abusados. The elderly, when the patient doesn't see, the senior cannot walk, the senior cannot hear, the senior is blind, they can be abused, pueden ser abusados. Tu amor, no mira, no oye. The people can take advantage. Se pueden la gente aprovechar. I'm not saying that people do, but now and then people can be abused. Se dan cuenta, hay casos. There's a lot of cases about abuse. So that's why in healthcare, we always do fingerprints. I don't know if you guys were, as a requirement to come even to the school, you have to have fingerprints. Tiene que haber tenido huellas.
Yes.
Yes, you have fingerprints.
Right? It's requirement. Because there's a lot of abuses, and then sometimes the abuses go unreported. O sea, no reportan los abusos. La persona dice, es abuso, pero no te envuelvas en el problema. Don't get involved. You don't get involved, what is that saying about you? Si usted no se envuelve. What are you saying if you say, you know what, it's probably happening, but I don't want to go into that. I don't want to get involved with that situation.
Professionalism?
That's right. But if you say, okay, I know she's being abused, but I don't want to do anything about it, you contribute to the abuse because how do we stop the abuse? ¿Cómo paramos el abuso? We serve somebody to stop abuse by reporting the abuse.
Yes, reporting it.
You see? I'm gonna see if I can find you a short video and you guys can see that one. Okay, let me see if I can find it. Can you hear it?
Yes.
Yes. What happened?
My mother's name was Eva Marie Kane. She was a very vibrant woman when she was younger. She was a homemaker. She raised 4 children, was a good mother, was a very loving mother. When I made the decision to move her closer to me, she was 76 years old at that time. She was a wanderer, as most Alzheimer patients are, and had become incontinent, had lost her voice. She could barely mutter yes or no. So I made a decision to move her to a home in Sacramento. She was there for 32 days and ultimately died. I don't think that she died because of the Alzheimer's. I don't think that she died because of old age. My mother died as a result of the care that she was given in this nursing home that she was in for a mere 32 days. I want to go home. I want to go home. Get back my teeth. I want to go home. Get it my teeth. I want to go home. Where's my teeth? I want to go home. Get my teeth. Get my teeth. Let me go home. No, don't come in here. Home. Don't come in. No. No, I want to go home. Let me go home. Home. Get out of here. Let me out.
As a mandated reporter of elder and dependent adult abuse, you are in a unique position. You are the person who is entrusted with the day-to-day health and welfare of some of the most vulnerable among us. But beyond that, You are responsible to help protect these special people from anyone who would abuse them.
Abuse, neglect, or violence of any kind is illegal and should never be part of any caregiving situation. California law requires this training so that you will fully understand your legal duties and better provide the care and protection that the residents of your facility deserve.
Just need a little help here. I just need some help. Don't take my button away. Don't take my button away.
They are silent crimes, hidden crimes, and sadly, crimes that affect millions of victims and their families.
To help protect elders and dependent adults, California law requires that certain individuals are mandated to report incidents of known or suspected abuse.
A lot of people don't realize they are mandated reporters. Those that call us are normally those that are concerned with the outcome or with the welfare of the residents within the facilities. When they find out they're mandated reporters, that's usually a double shock to them.
Ignorance of the law is no excuse, and that's true in this case. If you do not know that you should report, I am going to say you should have known. You know, there's plenty of training available. It is your responsibility to find out what the laws are and then be a responsible reporter.
As a mandated reporter, it is your individual legal duty to report all known or suspected abuse of elders and dependent adults.
Reporting responsibilities under the law are individual. If there is a particular policy within the institution in which you work and it requires you to report to a certain person, that's fine. They can have any kind of policy they want for reporting, so long as it doesn't interfere with your individual obligation to report. If that incident isn't reported, then you, the person who had the obligation to report, could be in trouble. You could be charged with a crime.
All employees of a facility are required to report abuse, and that means the janitor or a cook who just happens to be walking down a hall and witnesses abuse are mandated to report it. Now remember, as a mandated reporter, you must report if, one, you have been told of an incident by an elder or dependent adult. Two, you have observed or have knowledge of an incident that reasonably appears to be abuse. Or three, you reasonably suspect that an incident has occurred.
Simply put, you are a mandated reporter, and it is your individual legal duty to report known or suspected incidents of abuse.
Okay, so you guys know that you are mandated reporters.
Right.
Okay, thank you. And reporting is your legal duty, es su responsabilidad legal.
Leaving you here while we take care of your room.
As a mandated reporter, slapping, pinching, rape, incest, sodomy, or the withholding of food and water. It also includes any unreasonable restraint by physical or chemical means. Over-medication, under-medication, or the withholding of medication is also abuse. Possible signs of physical abuse can include unusual scratches, skin tears, bruises, or welts. Also, any injuries caused by biting, cutting, pinching, or twisting of limbs. Additionally, burns or blistering and torn or bloody undergarments are indicators.
You know, there are many physical abuse cases that we prosecute. One involved a worker in a facility. That facility worker actually struck the patient. The patient revealed this to another worker who in turn made a report, and that
hearing aids, eyeglasses, or medication.
There was a case that involved patients who were suffering from dehydration due to extreme heat exposure. A facility person reported that patients were suffering. They felt that it was wrong. They felt that this was an abusive situation. And because of that, law enforcement responded, emergency medical teams all responded when that was reported. That greatly facilitated stopping the suffering of I don't know how many other patients if the condition would have continued on.
Financial abuse can be just as serious as other forms of abuse. It can remove all the safety and comfort that the victim has and puts them in a position of far greater vulnerability. Indicators can include the disappearance of papers or checkbooks, staff members assisting with credit card purchases or ATM withdrawals, lack of grooming items or clothing, staff using residents' personal items, and bills left unpaid when funds are available.
I had a case of an elderly female who lived in a long-term care facility, and she had allowed one of the workers there to cash checks for her. When she finally got her bank statement, she recognized there was more activity in the account than she had authorized. She confided in another employee at the facility, who then reported that to us. The conclusion of this case was that the mandated reporter acted appropriately and did what they were supposed to do, started the ball rolling, got law enforcement involved, and the victim got justice because the suspect was arrested.
Other forms of reportable abuse are isolation, acts that keep a resident from receiving mail, phone calls, or contact with family, friends, and other concerned individuals, and abandonment, the deserting of an elder or dependent adult. One other form of abuse you need to know about doesn't involve staff or family. It is resident-to-resident abuse.
Resident-to-resident abuse is when one resident in a facility abuses another resident in the same facility in any way, whether it's physical, mental, or financial.
As with all other forms of abuse, resident-to-resident abuse is illegal and must be reported.
Staff in facilities are reluctant to report resident-to-resident abuse, partially because they do not understand that it has to be reported, and they think that abuse is only reportable if it's a staff person or possibly a family member that's abusing the patient.
These patients are very frail typically. They have a lot of medical issues. And just simply being pushed over, pushed out of bed, or pushed in the shower or something like that can be life-threatening. And so that has to be a consideration of the staff when they're looking at resident-on-resident abuse.
Remember, all residents in your facility are protected by California's mandated reporter law. No matter what form the abuse takes, and whether it is intentional or unintentional, abuse is illegal and must be reported.
Okay, so all elders and dependent adults are protected by the California law. So la ley protege a todos los ancianos y a todos los dependientes que no pueden, que no valen por sí mismos. So we have to protect those people. And we are in a situation where we take care of patients that you're going to see fragile people. Hay personas bien frágiles. Es abuse. Se reporta. Depende si el paciente tiene historia de agresivo y está en el care plan, tú pararlo, si no está en el cuadro médico, no. Because when the resident goes into the facility, if they have an aggressive behavior, they're going to tell us that the patient is very aggressive. You are to be aware and to report anything that is abusive towards other residents or towards the staff. Hay residentes que son tremendos y son abusivos a otros residentes y también al staff. They have to make sure that you report all of this. So there is a student here that said that she had witnessed abuse between residents also. They are aggressive and they, what is abusando de otro residente, también es reportable. So, remember the type of abuse. We have physical, financial, neglect, but it can be verbally también. It can be verbal. So you see the three types, no?
Yes.
The fragile people are the ones that get, they can be a target of abuse.
Mrs. Russell, we're going to be having dinner in about 15 minutes, all right? Let me just hold on to your cell phone for safekeeping. Hi, how's it going? As a mandated reporter, it's important to remember that all you are legally required to do is report. You're not an investigator or a judge. Reporting is your individual responsibility and can't be delegated or passed on to anyone.
You are an individual reporter and you are responsible to make the report. You cannot simply rely on your supervisor or some other administrator to make the report. And so failure to do so means that you are still liable and I will come after you.
While your facility may require you to notify a supervisor or administrator, this does not relieve you of your legally required reporting duties.
A supervisor, an administrator, anybody who's your boss, however you want to define it, they cannot tell you to not report something. No matter what their rules or regulations are internally, you have an obligation to report, and they cannot tell you to not report. If they're doing that, they're absolutely in violation of the law.
You must report if a resident reports abuse to you, if you have witnessed or have knowledge of abuse, or if you reasonably suspect that abuse has occurred.
The reasonable suspicion is just simply whether you think that abuse has occurred. Do I believe that abuse has occurred? It's just a gut level feeling that you might have. If you're thinking about it and you're thinking, should I report this? The answer is always going to be yes, because if you're engaging in this thought process, it's reasonable suspicion that there's been abuse.
The procedure is simple. First, you must immediately report by telephone to the long-term care ombudsman or local law enforcement.
Anyone who observes abuse or reasonably suspects abuse simply picks up the phone. The numbers usually are posted in most of
You
the
see that? This is very important for us, okay? When we work in the nursing facility, this sign has to be up in every nursing facility. Todos los nursing homes tienen que tener el número del ombudsman program for the nursing homes. This is where you can call and report any type of abuse or dispute. Si hay abuso y en el nursing home no están haciendo nada, usted puede llamar a ese programa local que es Ombudsman Program. It's a state, from the state. Cada estado tiene un programa de ombudsman. This is the legal representative for the seniors. You don't have to give them your name, but you can report the abuse. Puede reportar. Every state has ombudsman program, and this person becomes the legal representative over the seniors.
These in several different locations. Just pick up the phone, make the call to the ombudsman or the local law enforcement agency nearest you.
The initial phone report from a mandated reporter is not a lengthy process. The name of the facility, the resident involved, if they know any of the employees that might be involved, if it was that type of report, the time it happened, the date it happened.
After they make that phone call, they must fill out the SOC 341, and they have 2 working days to do that.
The form you use for reporting is the SOC 341. Your facility has copies of the SOC 341 and must make them available. Additionally, your local long-term care ombudsman can give you forms and answer any questions you may have.
While all information on the SOC 341 is very important, please pay special attention to the following. Section A is victim identification information. The victim does not have to participate in the reporting process, and there may be more than one victim. Section B identifies you as the person making the report. Remember, the only individuals who will have this information will be the investigative or enforcement agencies receiving the report. Section D includes information on the type of abuse. Use your best judgment when identifying the specific kind of abuse that may have occurred. Section E is for comments or observations. You also need to list signs of abuse or neglect. Include any specific behavior or statements of the victim.
Section G is for you to list any other individuals that may have knowledge of the incident, the victim, or the alleged abuse. Section H identifies the suspected abuser. You need to provide as much information as possible. Section I identifies the date and to whom you made the telephone report. You must list the name of the person you reported to.
This particular form is available normally in the facility. However, if they don't have one, we will see that they get one by either mailing it to them or delivering it to them in person at the facility.
Again, you are a mandated reporter of known or suspected elder or dependent adult abuse. You are the one who must report immediately by phone to law enforcement or the ombudsman. You are the one who must follow that with a written report within 2 working days. For you, the law is clear. Reporting is your individual duty.
See, so you are required by California law to report any suspected abuse. Es por ley que se tiene que reportar sospecha de abuso. No person at the facility can stop you. Nadie lo puede parar. Immediately phone the report to the ombudsman or law enforcement. So tienen que hablar al programa de ombudsman y ahí tienen el número. Number 4 is within 2 working days, and you need the form 341, and the nursing home has the form. El nursing home tiene la forma, y si no la tienen, usted la puede pedir cuando llama. And you need to make the report.
My book, you have my book, that's my book.
If you have to make a report, it's natural to wonder what happens next.
Although you might never know the final outcome, your report will trigger an investigation that may stop needless suffering.
It may take some time before a mandated reporter sees any results from anything that they report, and a number of agencies may be conducting investigations in ways that the mandated reporter is not aware of.
As a mandated reporter, you have a legal obligation. Because of that, there are strong penalties for anyone who fails to report.
Failure to report is a very serious matter, and the penalties are substantial. If you fail to report, you can receive up to 6 months in jail and a $1,000 fine. But if great bodily injury or death takes place because of a failure to report, the penalties increase to 1 year in jail and a $5,000 fine. We as a society are taking this very seriously, and we will move forward to prosecute for failure to report.
The law recognizes your sensitive position as a mandated reporter. Because of that, you are provided with 2 key protections. The first is immunity from civil and criminal liability.
If an employee reports something, their employers can't do anything to them in retribution, that their employers would be breaking the law if they did that. The law strictly prohibits the facility or the employer, if you will, from taking any action against them. They'd be vigorously prosecuted.
The second protection you have is confidentiality. Your identity as a reporter can only be disclosed to authorized investigating agencies. If anyone violates your confidentiality, they are guilty of a misdemeanor, punishable by up to 6 months in county jail, a fine of $500, or both.
We will keep the person who reported the incident anonymous so that the facility has no standing in pursuing any kind of action against the employee.
Those who suspect or observe abuse must report it because, quite simply, it's the law. The law says they are required and mandated
If you work in a facility, you are a mandated reporter. That means if you don't report, you're breaking the law and you can be arrested.
The law goes hand in hand with the
their own home. And for many, a long-term care facility is their home.
Most residents are frail. Many can't speak for themselves, and many more may not even comprehend that they are being abused. Helping protect them from agony, pain, and suffering is your responsibility.
My mother was born in Oklahoma, and she loved her family very much. She was very family-oriented. She loved to fish, and she was quite a left-handed fisherman. My dad used to tease her about that, her casting, but she loved that, and she loved her church and her church family. She always found a church that she could be happy in. My mother was 92 when she went into this nursing facility. She went in June. She passed away in August. Nobody called except my mother that night. She wanted me to know she'd had trouble with nursing. She knew she was in trouble. She'd started having all of the symptoms of having a massive heart attack there. And they knew it. Being 92, she would have gone a couple of weeks, months, 2 months. Maybe she'd gone another year or two. But it would have been her time. Not because somebody else didn't do the right thing.
Okay, guys. Okay, so that's the video on abuse. Okay, let's look at the different abuses. The abuse can take the face of physical. El abuso puede ser físico. Someone wanted to hurt someone. Físicamente alguien te puede dañar. The abuse can be psychological. Una persona diciéndote cosas feas, humillándote, es un abuso psicológico. If they treat you the wrong way, they say bad things to you, humiliating, te están humillando, intimidating, intimidando. Hay personas que son abusadas de esa forma. Isolation means that they put you away. A unas personas que pueden encerrar en un lugar, en un cuarto. Insulting, si una persona te insulta, te está humillando. Or threatening, te está amenazando. The abuse can be verbally, puede ser verbalmente, la gente te dice cosas, with words, con palabras, o con gestos, amenazándote. threaten or embarrassing you. Una persona te insulta, te está abusando verbalmente. Embarrassing, te está como haciendo sentir mal. Como que te pone en pena, habla cosas feas. Sexual abuse is when you're forcing someone to have a sexual activity against your will. So as an adult, you have to agree to have sex with your partner, even if it's your spouse. Aunque sea tu esposo, no debe usted ser forzada. If somebody's touching you and you don't want to, that's abuse, sexual abuse. So nadie te puede forzar a que te toquen a tus partes privadas, exposing you, sharing pornographic material. No one can force you to watch porno videos, los videos de pornografía. No puede, si alguien te está obligando, ese es abuso, es abuse. Nobody can force you to watch something you don't want to watch. En este caso sería pornografía, si es sexual. Financial abuse, somebody is borrow money or somebody take your money. Si alguien te toma su dinero porque lo necesitan para sus cosas. That's abuse. Even if it's your own family, aunque sea tu familia, nadie te puede quitar tus cosas, especialmente tu dinero. Nobody can take money from you unless you give permission. ¿Sí? Tú tienes que dar permiso de eso. Assault, if somebody is threatening you to harm you, si alguien te está amenazando, eso es un abuso. So, if someone threats you, you might feel fearful. Hay gente que anda con mucho temor porque me dijo que me va a matar. Sometimes, you know, the spouses have disagreements and one take off and say, oh, you can't go with anybody else, I'm gonna kill you or something. That's a threat. ¿Sí? Un assault. Amenazando es, no puede uno vivir amenazando. You can say, no, if you do this, I'm gonna do this. No pueden amenazarte. Battery is when you intentionally do something. Intencionalmente estás tocando a aquella persona without their approval. Si alguien te toca y tú no quieres, entonces ya es intencional. They call it battery. Domestic violence, violencia doméstica, it could happen in different cultures. Someone, the spouse say, oh, I can do anything with my wife, or I can do something to my partner, porque es mi pareja, pues yo puedo hacer lo que yo quiera. No, it's not supposed to be. Here is the law. You cannot just force somebody to do something physical, sexual, emotional. No puedes decir cosas feas. No puedes tocar a una persona. Emotionally, even if it's your partner. Tu pareja, tu esposo, tu esposa no puede decirte cosas feas. Physical, no abuse, no sexual without your permission. Si es tu permiso, it's okay, but if it's not you, if you didn't give the okay, then it's domestic violence. Some cultures have that. Hay culturas que el hombre es muy machista y la mujer tiene que hacer porque él dice, pues. So, and then we have the opposite. El opuesto puede ser personas que son, como dicen, mandilones, ¿no? Entonces, la mujer lo abusa. I've seen some women, they abuse the men. I didn't know that, but I have seen. Ya lo he visto. La mujer lo anda ahí haciendo como quiera al hombre. You cannot do that either. You cannot abuse the man. Dice, pero es mandilón. It doesn't matter. Usted no puede hacer eso. You cannot abuse the man either. So it can be both ways. Women or men are being abused. The word false imprisonment, we're in page 14. Vaya a la página 14 and you're going to see false imprisonment. Imprisonment, cuando dice false, es esposa que te va a amarrar o te va a encerrar. It's false imprisonment and that's illegal. Te voy a encerrar o te voy a amarrar. Nadie puede amenazar. It's called false imprisonment and that's illegal. Involuntary seclusion es cuando la persona es encerrada. Te pongo en un closet y te encierro, o te pongo en un cuarto y te encierro. But you don't want to, but they force you to. Te vas a quedar aquí para que no salgas. You're gonna stay here and you're not going. You're not going to school, stay in the room. No quiero que tengas libertad. Quiero que estés aquí encerrada. Nobody can force you to. Workplace violence. Hay personas que abusan en el trabajo, pues entre ellos se abusan. Somebody take advantage of the other one. A staff member might want to touch another staff member. Se te tocan inapropiadamente, no es ni tu esposo ni tu esposa, pero te están diciendo cosas verbalmente. They can be verbal or it could be physical. It could be men or it could be women. Sexual harassment. Sexual harassment es cuando alguien te dice cosas sexuales. Like you feel offensive because they're telling you something, ¿no? Que van a hacer algo contigo, intimidándote. Hostile. Somebody offensive, te dicen cosas que te ofenden. Harassment is a big deal in America. That can happen at work. Sometimes it's because they are in a higher position, they can harass another person. ¿Sí? Puede haber un abuso como yo puedo hacer lo que yo quiero porque yo soy el jefe o la jefa. Not without your permission. ¿Sí? Nadie puede tocarte sin tu permiso. Algo que es ofensivo. Substance abuse. It's legal, it can be legal or illegal. Like cigarettes are legal. I mean, you can buy liquor, but you shouldn't go like that to the workplace. O sea, todo lugar tiene su lugar, ¿no? O sea, if you're drinking, don't go to work or don't drive or don't do things that is gonna put you in danger. You cannot drink and go to work and take care of patients. Abuso de sustancia. Hay personas que tienen esa condición. Some people can do drugs or can do alcohol or different things, but when you are working, it should not be. No debe de andar una persona endrogada cuidando pacientes. That's why when you are working, they do a background check. Están chequeando todo su historial. It's called the background check to make sure that you are okay, that you don't have a lot of any kind of abuses. Que no aparezca en tu expediente algo que tú has sido envuelto en algo de abuso. You can't take care of people if you can't take care of yourself. Tiene que cuidarse usted para usted poder cuidar a otros. You have to. You have to be good to yourself and then you can be good to others. Okay, the word neglect, that's on page 15, página 15 de su libro. Neglect es negligencia. It's a failure to provide the needed care that results in physical, mental, or emotional harm to the person. Si falla de proveer el cuidado a su paciente, puede ser físico, mental o emocional, está dañando a la persona. So if you don't do what is correct for them, you can abuse them. Neglect can be active or it can be passive. Active es con propósito. Usted sabe lo que está haciendo, está dañando a aquella persona. With the purposeful failure to provide the care. The patient is wet, the patient needs change, and you say, I know he needs change, but I don't want to do it. Si usted se rehúsa a cuidar a un paciente, está trabajando. ¿Sí? You're supposed to, but you say, oh, I don't want to do it now. I don't want to take care of that person. ¿Para qué fue a trabajar? The active neglect. As if you forget to change somebody and the person is wet and you went home and the person is all wet or dirty and maybe it's the first day of employment, it can be passive because you forgot, you didn't know that, oh, I forgot that patient, se le olvidó. Puede pasar en el primer día de trabajo, pero es sin intención. Like they have to look at the situation. Why did you leave your patients dirty? Sí, no te pueden acusar. Si it's like you've been there for a while and you just leave your patients dirty, then it's active neglect. And be aware that anything that can show up in the employment, they can put it into the record. Puede ir a tu record. Entonces queda en tu expediente. So make sure that when you work, you do good work. Que haga buen trabajo para que no la acusen de nada o no lo acusen de nada. So you want to have a good record, a clean record. Porque en este país hay mucha demanda. Here, everybody has a lawsuit. Everything is a lawsuit. I don't know if now, but before it was all the time. Demasiada demanda en este país. Negligence. Sí, negligence. La palabra negligence is actions, to acción, dice, de fallar, or failure to act or to provide the proper care. And then the person is injured. Unintended injury to the person. Si no lo cuidaste, no lo bañaste, no lo limpiaste, y la persona se cae o algo, negligence. Malpractice to the person due to the professional misconduct. Es malpractice de una persona profesional que no hace el cuidado correcto. Even though they're professional, but they fail to do it the right way. So that can be malpractice. Es una mala práctica. Doctors get accused of malpractice sometimes because they say, oh, the doctor did surgery and probably left some gauze inside the surgery. A veces le dejan a uno gas adentro y dice, oh, puede ser una negligencia, una mala práctica. Me dejó y se me pudrió adentro. I got infected in my wound. They left inside my abdomen some gauze. Si el doctor se le olvidó limpiarte y se quedó la gasa dentro de tu cuerpo y se infectó, you can have a malpractice against your doctor if he or she didn't do what is right. Si ellos no hacen las cosas correctas, puede haber demanda. Remember, the people that make the most money, they have to have malpractice insurance because if you do something wrong, they can make a lawsuit. Hay muchas demandas en este país. That's why a lot of doctors, they don't want to become doctors, they want to become lawyers. Because doctors can get sued very easy. Si no eres un buen doctor, ahí viene una demanda. You have to be careful how you conduct yourself. Okay, so these are considered suspicious, sospecha de abuso. Esto es lo que indica la sospecha de un abuso. If you see poisoning or traumatic injuries, si usted mira daños de trauma que le ocasiona a usted. Teeth mark, marcas de dientes. Bell, buckle or strap marks. Si el paciente tiene como el cinturón marcado en la piel, como que alguien le ha hecho algo. Bell, buckle or strap. Bruises, contusions or welts. Moretones, como la piel hinchada, welts. La piel cortada, contusions. Scars, cicatrices. Fractures or dislocations. Si la persona está fracturada, why did they fall down? What happened? It could be a suspicious. Maybe they were not given the care, tal vez no la cuidaron o no le ayudaron, and they fall down. quemaduras, including cigarette burns and escaldaduras. When the skin is very red, we use the word scalds. Quemaduras o quemaduras de cigarro en el cuerpo. Scratches and puncture wounds. Scratches son raspones o rasguños. Puncture wounds es como que puntadas. Scalp tenderness or patches of missing hair. Como que parte del cabello se le está perdiendo o no sabe por qué se le está cayendo el pelo, pero como puede haber sospecha de abuso. Swelling in the face, inflamación en su cara. Broken teeth, dientes quebrados. Nasal discharge, descargos de la nariz. Bruises, moretones, bleeding, sangramiento, discharge from the vaginal area, descargos del área vaginal. Es suspicious, algo sospechoso ahí. When in doubt, make a report. Cuando usted mira sospecha de algo, un report. It's better to report than not to report. Sí, todo el tiempo. Yeah, this nation is about the abuses. Es que pasan las cosas aquí, muchas cosas pasan. Con los elderly, con los ancianos y también con niños. Personas que los cuidan. Yeah. The student is asking that this happens. It does happen, I say. It happens very frequent. And she said, but who is the abuser? An abuser can be anybody, caregivers, people who take care of them, providers, it can be nurses, it can be anybody who's close to them, family members. Miembros de familia pueden abusar de los seniors. Puede pasar. It's happened. If you go online and you look for abuses, there's all sorts of abuses. Ahora todo está en el internet y tú puedes encontrar cantidad de abuso en este país. It's a lot of abuses that happen. The people who are very fragile is the ones that are targeted for abuse. Los más frágiles, los que no saben, the people who doesn't have the knowledge, or the people who cannot speak, los que no pueden hablar, como no saben cómo reportar, they can be targeted for abuse. Okay. So now we're going to take a break. Okay? 20-minute break. It's 5:50, so at 6, what? 20 minutes. Questions? No?
Okay, cuando el abusador es familia, se tiene que reportar con la enfermera.
Sí, of course. Siempre. Okay. Yes. Even if it's a family member, a lot of times it's family member. Muchas veces es familia.
Entonces se reporta con la enfermera si es familia.
Sí.
Siempre. Okay.
Siempre.
Muy bien.
Okay, guys, take your short break.
Excuse me, can we leave the app?
You can, and then you can come back.
How long?
20 minutes.
Okay.
Thank you.
Daddy, 20 minutes.
Alright. Cheesecake is over there. We got pizza. We got salad. And chicken tenders. I think you like this.
Maybe no now. Still the number is like that.
The main one to me is Pennsylvania. Arizona has a lot of volts coming in. I'm going to go through Trump.
Oh, California?
Yeah. 100,000 volts they said coming in.
Maltreatment, physical abuse, sexual harassment. Maybe that.
I feel bad for those people that do it. Taking care of them.
Because the family is impressed with that person to the facility.
He would swear to me the old ladies, they like it.
Can we go to the legal? No, but you should not do that. Because they are not in their good mind.
Maybe not, maybe yes, but
Yeah, but
either way.
lang, with to me, few things I did not really. I should have went to, because the truck is from Philippine made. So I showed a picture to Ma'am Nicey and she said, yeah, that's the kind of people it was. Ano? I figured like Amazon. Oh, daddy, about that map, that because that is like CR1. It's not like before. It's just like everything is just submitted because under my P1. Given that one before also that our lawyer attorney that it said like a year with mistake case. Once lost with CR.
We didn't spend Martin in the first place. When you came, it was like, this was not bad. What would have made you do that?
That one that takes like sometimes
Right? But we have a lot to do here too, right?
and when you have if you have but now it takes a long time because it's like
Okay, but okay, so we need to discuss this because what's the minimum that we need to have done to bring Martin? Minimum is what we need to redo our home.
now we're going to fix that.
Because I think we need to close.
So we just put here in the front line that if we're doing
Martin gets here, he's going to have expenses. It's not going to be like Philippines expenses. The United States is crazy. And so we have to take that into consideration of what our improvements are going to cost. And then we have to take care of Martin.
that's why like maybe if like this
I'm telling him to grade 1 week. He can grade, he can take his clothes and send them.
you can just like what I did. It's like it's like you can from the next show. So we don't have also a lot of like but I asked them to just wait a little bit to see if so I think that is nice also the day to, for example, we're going to send requirements. She's going to, maybe she's the, we are the ones also going to send to the immigration. It's like 735 for that. So I don't know. So I think it's not.
everyone.
Because applying the visa sometimes it takes like years before you get like home, before they receive their approval, just like that. I think this is the right time. So years. Sometimes only K1 like this. Because they need to have 1 year before. Yes, I'm expired. And when you get the visa, like 6 months, so you can still stay there and you can come here before your visa expired. Like that. I read like that. Like that in documents. I got a message from broker just asking how much is so had for saving this rights. Then she asked me if 2,000. Yeah. Oh no, Trump. Georgia.
But the votes that the county mail-in ballots, it's mostly Democrats voting right now.
Yeah, because some also is like American from other countries, so they mail the votes, right, Daddy? willing to do, see if we need to do extra.
Hello, everyone. Thank you.
Okay, yelling obscenities, gritando, la persona está gritando cosas malas palabras. Fear, apprehension, or fear of being alone. Si hay temor de estar solo, y sospechas de abuso. Or self-control, la persona se fuera de su control. Constant pain, dolor. Threatening to hurt other people. So if you didn't hurt you, they might want to hurt others. Si alguien le está dañando a ellos, ellos también quieren hacer eso con otras personas. Withdrawal and apathy. Withdrawal es aislamiento. Apathy es que no estás interesada en nada. Like if you have no interest in life, you have apathy. People who are depressed have apathy. Es una apatía. No quieren envolverse en nada. Alcohol or drug abuse. Personas que hacen drogas, personas que toman mucho. Alcohol abuse. Se aísla porque no quiere que la gente los mire. People who don't want to get involved with others because of their drug abuse. Personas calladas. Agitation, anxiety, any signs of stress. Si la persona está agitada, se siente ansiosa o se mira estresada. Low self-esteem, su autoestima está bajo, disminuye. Mood changes, confusion or disorientation, cambios de humor, confusión, se sienten desorientados. Conversations that are not allowed by family members. La persona está siendo abusada. A veces no los dejan solos para que ellos no sean reportados. It could be a member of the family. It could be a caregiver. So you want to be around when the resident has visitors. Or if they're being abused, you have to look at the signs. Usted tiene que ver lo que indica abuso. Any questionable care by the resident or the family. Si están cuestionando su cuidado, que no los cambian, que no los bañan, que no los lavan, no los peinan. Maybe they don't groom the resident. They don't take care of the resident. Sí. Sí, porque a veces es un familiar el que está abusando. Sometimes it's the family member who's abusing. A lot of times, muchas veces. Pressure injuries, esos son llagas en el cuerpo. The body that is unclean, el cuerpo está sucio, como que no lo atiende. Body lice, hay unos animalitos que se pegan en el cuerpo, se llaman lice. En español creo que son piojos.
Sí, piojos.
Unanswered colites, si the senior is calling and nobody answers. Si usted no contesta a su senior, entonces negligencia. The linen, the bedding, la cama no está cambiada. The patient is incontinent. Incontinencia es que se orina o puede ser excremento. Briefs son los pañales. We are the diapers, but we call them briefs. If the senior doesn't get changed, there is abuse. As abuse. Poorly fitting clothes, la ropa es no es la ropa de ellos. Needs related to hearing aids, tienen aparatos de los oídos, pero no hay baterías. Entonces, ¿para qué tenemos eso? Hay glasses, but they don't have them on. Que no tienen lentes, pero no los tienen puestos. Weight loss, poor appetite, pérdida de peso, no hay apetito. Uneaten food, comida que no se come. Dehydration, deshidratación. Fresh water or beverages that are not being offered. Si usted no le da bebidas a su señor o agua fresca. Reports of not receiving the prescribed medicine. Si la familia o la persona no recibe su medicamento, es un abuso. Si neglect or abuse, signs of neglect. Si no recibe su medicamento, es abuse. This is how a person who's abused could look. Aquí es de una persona que se siente abandonada. El body language, el lenguaje corporal, así es como que está decaída. You see the arms are crossed, como que está cerrada, ¿no? The arms are crossed and the head is down. So siempre está viendo para abajo. Tal vez no peinada, ¿no? I mean, I'm sure you see people like that. If you ever been to nursing homes, a veces se miran personas así. What do you say? Well, these are signs. You could look at the file or you can talk to the nurse. Does she always look like that? They might say, yeah, she's like that. She was in the histories already. And the student is asking if she's looked like that all the time. Maybe it's part of she is. This is something that you can be suspicious. Normalmente las personas no deben de estar así todas las... I mean, you yourself, you look at yourself and looking down, así todo jorobada, viendo hacia el piso. I mean, that's not something that you do every day or looking down at the floor. It could be. Sí puede pasar. There's a student here that's questioning about, sometimes they say because we are new and you see other people who work there, that they say, well, you cannot talk because this is what we do here. This is how we take care of things here. That's an intimidation. And there are people like that. Hay gente tremenda que está así. I have run into situations where the caregiver o la persona que está cuidando al paciente, I go there to change a wound or make a dressing o hacer algo, and the caregiver is taking charge, como que toma control de la casa, and wants to do what he wants to do. Es peligroso, ¿no? My job is to report what's going on, por lo menos lo que vi. What I see, I witness, I report. At least I am with my conscience aware that this is what's going on. Miro como que puede haber sospecha de abuso. Hago mi reporte. It's out of my responsibility. Hago mi reporte y lo entrego. So I take to the next level. But yeah, I run into situations like that all the time. Por eso enseñamos el video y por eso cuando ustedes van a trabajar, también hablan de esto. Whenever you look for employment, they always talk about the abuses. Because this could happen at any level. Good families and not so good families. Familias buenas y familias no tan buenas. Especially if the caregiver or the person who takes care of the person has been there for years. Cuando ya están ahí por muchos años, como que se acomoda la gente y puede haber abuso. Y tal vez para ellos no es abuso. Maybe that's their lifestyle. Maybe they think that's how it's supposed to be. A veces, por no tener conocimiento, también uno, pues entonces no sabe ni que está haciendo eso. O si lo sabe, es una persona abusiva. There's some kinds of people. People that are abusive and people not so abused. Pero en este campo podemos encontrar personas así. There is a lot of people like this out in the field. También, she said that there is sometimes a situation where the patient keeps calling and complaining and saying or screaming, but the other people who work there say, oh, it's okay, don't worry about it. She's like this, not to get involved. Because they say their heart is like cold, like you are there just to do a service and not to care too much about the people. O sea, se hacen como el corazón duro. Y eso pasa. I have seen people that work for a paycheck and I have seen people that work with the heart, ¿no? Entonces, in this field, you see good people who want to work just for check, para agarrar un cheque. And then I always see people that want to really do good work. Hay personas que trabajan en conciencia. De todo vemos en este campo. If you don't like to take care of others, then it's hard to take good care. ¿Sí? Si no le interesa el ser humano, pues ¿cómo va a ser? ¿No? El interés tiene que empezar con uno. You have to take good care of yourself so you can give good care to other people.
I have a question.
Yes, you have to do what you can. Okay, so in this slide, it says that the people who can be abused are elderly. See? The people who are physically ill or disabled, personas deshabilitadas, personas enfermas. The people who are developmental disabled, personas con desarrollo, problemas de desarrollo, like Down syndrome, problemas del síndrome de Down, personas que no se valen por sí solas. People with mental health disorders, una condición mental. People with communication problems, una persona que no habla. People who don't hear, personas que no oyen. People who cannot speak, tal vez no habla el lenguaje. People who are blind, problemas de impedimento de vista. All of them, what they have in common is they cannot defend themselves. Son vulnerables. They cannot defend themselves because they don't know how, no saben cómo. And then here is you, that an employee who is going to be able to report because you were told that this is what you do. Hay que reportar, muchachas, que no se queden esto en su conciencia de que algo podría haber pasado o puede pasar. these people don't understand that they have rights. ¿Sí? Ellos no saben ni que tienen derechos legales. Sometimes seniors can become demanding. ¿Sí? A veces ellos son abusados porque son exigentes. It puts a lot of stress on the people who take care of them. ¿Sí? Las personas se estresan porque a veces los seniors son exigentes. We have a lot of seniors who are like that and seniors who are not like that. Now, caregivers, maybe they don't know that they, how to take care of them. So they could be neglectful because they don't know how to take care of them. Or sometimes people work 24 hours. Hay personas que dicen voy a cuidar personas por 24 horas y entonces están trabajando muchas horas. If you work too much, maybe you don't do good work. ¿Sí? Si trabaja demasiadas horas, a veces no puede uno dar un buen resultado de su trabajo. Because you might be too tired or too stressed. Está cansada. A veces siente, but this company doesn't appreciate me. O puede decir, la compañía no me da buen salario, pues voy a hacer lo mínimo. But you sign up for that employment. ¿Sí? Cuando uno ve un empleo y lo acepta, usted dice que lo va a hacer. See, these people, they say they need help and they need protection from being harmed. O sea, harm es como protección de ser dañados. They cannot speak for themselves, but if you look at their body, at the body language, you can see there's something wrong, porque se miran como abandonados. They look neglected, like people don't provide the care for them.
What if they're just afraid to speak up? Like, what about the person?
Why are these people so vulnerable? How are the residents' rights related to the abuse and the NA's responsibility to protect the residents from abuse? Porque ellos son vulnerables. ¿Y cómo podemos, dice, la responsabilidad de protegerlos a ellos contra el abuso? Any suggestions, any ideas? ¿Cómo podríamos nosotros Okay, ¿cómo te llamas tú? Zulema, tú eres la nurse, ¿verdad? La enfermera. Zulema is saying that we have to make a report. I think it's the 303C or something. Es un reporte que se tiene que hacer.
El SOC 341.
Yeah, so we need to make a report. We need to be the voice for the resident. Nosotros tenemos que ser la voz del residente. This can be your grandparents. This can be somebody that you care for. Nosotros tenemos que representarnos a ellos también. Es un recordatorio. Nursing assistant must never abuse residents in any way. Dice, la nursing assistant no debe de abusar del residente de ninguna forma. And must report any suspected abuse. So, tiene que reportar si hay sospecha de abuso. Reporting the abuse is the law. Es la ley, reportar el abuse. The NA must follow the chain of commands when you report the abuse. That means I'm going to report to my supervisor, my charge nurse, my supervisor, anybody who's over, la persona que esté encargada de los pacientes. If the supervisor doesn't do anything, I can go to the supervisor, her supervisor. Entonces vamos a, como la persona que está más arriba de la línea de comando. And then the other option is to, if the supervisor doesn't help, you can call the 1-800 ombudsman. usted puede llamar al representante legal del Estado, que es el Ombudsman Program. It's the legal advocate for the residents in the long-term care facilities. En los asilos es el representante legal de ellos. To resolve disputes and to settle conflicts. Resolver problemas, dice, conflictos y desacuerdos. So, Ombudsman Program. So, if I ask you guys a question, who is the legal representative for the seniors? ¿Cuál es el representante legal de los seniors? What would you answer? ¿Qué contestaría usted?
The Ombudsman, supervisor.
What was the question?
Is anybody home?
El representante legal del Estado, la
I
enfermera.
don't know if you guys know what ombudsman is, right?
Ombudsman, yeah. Ombudsman.
Can she
El
hear us?
representante legal de los seniors. Nosotros somos los employees, nosotros somos los parte del equipo médico. We are the CNA. But if we have any
¿No se escucha?
concern, alguna sospecha de abuso, tenemos que reportarnos al supervisor.
Hello.
And the supervisor doesn't take any steps to help the senior. We go to the Ombudsman Program, el programa Ombudsman, que ellos representan a los seniors en los nursing facilities, en los asilos. Son los representantes legales. Este es legal representative for the seniors. Ombudsman. Arriba del nursing home, arriba del donde trabajamos, porque eso es por el Estado. Like health department, they don't work there, they come from the state, vienen del Estado, te vienen a supervisar. So, what is, yes, Hillary, you have a question? Somebody raised their hand. Who raised their hand? Hillary Ruano.
Can you hear us?
Yes, Hillary. What did you need to ask?
Hello?
Do you have your speaker on? Hello?
Can you hear me? Ms. Marco? Yes. I think you have us on mute, Professor.
Okay, can you open the microphone?
You have us on mute.
Can you hear me?
My speaker is off?
Yes.
Oh.
We were trying to talk to you and
Nobody said anything.
yeah, we sent messages.
Okay.
Why nobody say anything?
We sent messages. I hear you.
Anybody could hear me?
Sophie.
Yeah.
I can hear you.
Couldn't hear nobody.
But you guys can hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, we could hear you.
But you guys cannot. Oh, I can't hear that. Okay, so what are your opinions? Okay, Hillary, what were you saying? Huh? Leaving? Oh, okay. I don't know. What were they saying?
Now you asked about the legal advocate of the resident.
Ombudsman. Okay, so they advocate for the residents' rights, so we know ombudsman, right?
Yes.
They educate the consumers and the providers. So ellos educan a los proveedores. So when ombudsman comes to the nursing home, everybody's very quiet. Because if ombudsman comes to the nursing home, they know there is a complaint. Cada vez que llega el representante from ombudsman, hay una queja. Alguien llamó por teléfono, reportó algo. So everybody's in their best behavior. Nadie dice nada. Everybody's very quiet. So when Ombudsman comes, they investigate what's going on and they make, try to solve the problem for the senior. Trata de acomodar la situación del senior o trabajar para solventar el problema.
Ombudsman?
Ombudsman, you see it on the PowerPoint?
Uh-huh.
Ese es el typical task. Típico es el trabajo típico del representante legal que es ombudsman. So if you learn something tonight, it's about the ombudsman program.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Okay, in the nursing home, en los asilos, there's a meeting, they meet quarterly. Quarterly creo que es cada 3 meses. They have a meeting about any problems, any concerns, any complaints for the nursing facility. Cada nursing facility tiene un programa que se llama Resident Council Meeting. Es una sesión de los residentes cada 3 meses para expresar todas sus quejas de ese lugar. It gives the resident a voice to the facility. O sea, ellos pueden decir sus quejas, complaints. We can discuss policies, activities, concerns, any problems. Let's say it's a nursing problem. Hay un problema en el departamento de enfermería. The CNA doesn't answer the call list right away. Entonces, the supervisor is going to talk to the CNA, say, make sure you answer the call list within, right away, as soon as they press the button. O sea, una de las quejas. For the laundry department, they might say the laundry doesn't get returned to the seniors right away. It takes 2 to 3 days. So the supervisor of the laundry will try to find out why they're taking so long to return the clothes. Porque in a nursing home, they do everything for them. They do the food, the medicine, the treatments, the therapy. Es un cuidado total. So this is the voice of the residents. There's always a resident who is the president. Escogen un residente que es el presidente. And it's usually the resident who's been there the longest. El que está ahí más tiempo y el que puede hablar. The one that who can speak, he becomes one of the president of the resident council meeting. There's always a family member that is a guest. O sea, llaman a un miembro de familia para que represente la voz de los seniors. It could be a family member from the seniors in the nursing facility. Es como una sesión y que es cada 3 meses, las quejas de ellos. The kitchen doesn't bring us, the food is too cold, so si la comida viene fría, pues ese es el problema de las dietas de las kitchen. So the dietary department have to solve the issue. Or maybe the toast is burned, las tostadas vienen quemadas. That's not right. Les pueden cerrar la cocina porque el Estado está dando dinero para eso. So any concerns, they have to be discussed. Tienen que solventar los problemas. And there are problems. When there is people, there is problems. Es un problema de los pacientes. Porque sometimes the patient say my food is not hot. No viene caliente. It comes cold. Why my food is cold when it's supposed to come hot? Tiene que venir caliente. You have to have a thermos on top. Tiene que tener un termo. And it has to be hot. Tiene que ser caliente. So they have to solve the issues. The next one, let's go to confidentiality. Busque la palabra que se llama confidentiality, and that is on page 17. Ya llegamos a la página 17. Y ahí está the confidentiality, which is the legal and ethical principle of keeping information private. La forma legal y ética, HIPAA law. Yes, HIPAA law. Hay que mantener la confidencia de su patient private. And this is the law. So we learned tonight ombudsman. Second important word is called the HIPAA law. La ley.
HIPAA law.
It's very important for hospitals, nursing homes, medical health care, doctors' offices, anything that has to do with health information. Todo lo que es mantener la confidencia en la información médica está bajo la ley HIPAA, which is a federal law. Okay? Es una ley federal that everything that is medical has to be protected and secure. So let's say I go and see a patient, I'm gonna be able to access that file on my computer only for that patient. I cannot see the other patients of the company. Cuando yo pongo mi ID, solo va a salir el paciente con el que yo trabajo. No van a salir los pacientes de mis compañeros. So whenever I put my ID, it's just gonna pop up the patients I'm working with. It cannot have anything to do with the other patients. Aunque yo trabaje ahí, yo no tengo información médica de los otros patients, solo los que yo, con los que yo trabajo. Only the ones that I'm talking to or I'm dealing with or I'm working with, that's under the HIPAA law. The information that we protect, sí, dígame. Tiene que pedir otra. Se supone que no sé, anteriormente no cobraban, no sé si ahora está cobrando. ¿Tú la perdiste? ¿No? Si te llega a pasar, I don't know, I have to ask. Porque a veces sí y a veces sí. Yes, when I put my ID in the computer, I have everything about my patient. Se tiene que dar otro. They have to be another ID. Inmediatamente. If you lost your ID, but usually my ID I memorize. Yo me memorizo todos los números porque es mi trabajo. Like if you say, I'm going to see the patient and I have to open the file for my patient, because I work with that company, I have an ID number. Y no ante mi ID, I have the number memorized. Ya lo sé. It's usually like 4 or 5 numbers. You memorize and you also have a passcode. Tiene una palabra clave para ingresar a su expediente cuando usted pone su ID. There's different ways, like I can put my ID number and then I can access my file, but it's only my file for my patients. It's my name at the top and my patient's name at the bottom. Y todo lo del patient, like history, all the, rehabilitation, all the treatment, todo está ahí. Yo puedo ver todo lo de él. Para as soon as I finish writing my information, I log out. Tengo que salirme de ahí. Este file, una vez se hace discharge, ya se va a su casa, ya no lo miro. Once I write my documentation, my chart, it's done. A menos que tenga otro patient. If they give me another patient, then the file comes out. They're very particular about the files for the patient, que es el chart. Es que right now we're not doing papers, we're doing electronic. Todo ya se cambió a electronic. And we do everything with an ID account number. Every facility has an account number. So whatever facility I work, tengo los ID, tengo el password, tengo todo. But sometimes they say don't save the password. A veces la computadora te dice que no lo hagas save en la computer, que it's not safe. A veces no lo puedes guardar y a veces sí. Pero Pero, sometimes we have so many passwords that is hard. Tiene uno que estar listo. But if you work there, that is your job every single day, you memorize. Uno cuando ya trabaja con esos mismos pacientes, ya lo tienes en tu memoria. So yeah, you have to have your ID, and then if you lose it, you tell the supervisor. Si pierden el ID, le dice al supervisor inmediatamente para que le den acceso al file. If you don't charge, you don't get paid. Si usted no documenta de su patient, no le pagan. Okay, so the law is called HIPAA. Okay, the information that is very, very particular about you cannot disclose this information is under PHI. So we need to know the abbreviation HIPAA, and we need to know the abbreviation PHI. Entonces, P is protected, H is health, and I is information. La información de protección está aquí abajo. So that means that you're going to be careful with the name of the patient or the resident. Ahí está el nombre. Usted no puede dárselo a nadie. The address, la dirección donde ellos están. The telephone number, el teléfono de ellos. Ahí está en el file. The social security is in the file. Porque es un file médico. Un expediente médico y tiene todo ahí. It has social security, it has Medicare number, it has medical number. So this information is very private, very protected. Usted puede ver muchas cosas en el expediente, pero esta es como decir, the face sheet, la primera página. Está todo lo más importante del patient. Social Security opens everything about you. Sí, ese señor, ahí está toda su información médica. So you should not carry your social security, like you yourself. Usted no tiene que andar su social security. Si lo anda y lo pierde, ahí está todo su file. Social security, you need to carry your ID number, your driver's license, su licencia. Eso está bien porque you have to have it. Pero your social, you have to memorize. Hay que memorizarse ese número de social. But if you carry it and you lose it, it's very, very dangerous. Se roban la información de los residents. Yeah? So remember, Ombudsman, HIPAA, and PHI, and the different abuses is what's for today. So usted tiene que saber todo esto. You have to remember the type of abuses, the HIPAA law, the PHI. What is the information that I have to protect? ¿Cuál es la información que voy a proteger? Patient's name, address, telephone number, social security, email, medical record, el número de récord médico. It's private. Very private. Okay, let's see if I have a video on this one. Voy a ver si tengo un video de esto.
We're going to have to take extra precautions when it comes in now.
What patient are you guys talking about?
We're talking about Mr. Jones. He's been in our clinic every week for the last 3 or 4 weeks.
What you see here is a severe breach of patient confidentiality. When staff members discuss personal patient information where other people can overhear, patients lose trust in our healthcare system, and the system can be liable.
We have a binding pact with our patients to maintain the confidentiality of their health information. This is vital to our commitment of delivering the highest quality of patient care. The new federal law called HIPAA reinforces that responsibility. Our healthcare environment is changing daily. New information technology provides us with an amazing list of new methods to diagnose illnesses earlier, identify potential medication errors before they occur, and communicate instantaneously with other healthcare providers from around the world. However, with those new technologies comes an increasingly difficult challenge to keep our patients' health information private and secure. Please pay close attention to this video. We'll provide guidelines on how we should protect patient information in our daily work. We provide our patients, our community, and the region we serve with extraordinary care. Let's all make a pledge to live up to our promise to keep our patient health information confidential.
While patient confidentiality has always been important in healthcare, HIPAA now provides patients with federal privacy protection. First off, do you know what HIPAA stands for? Not hardly. It means Health Insurance Portability and Accountability Act. HIPAA consists of three major parts. Billing, which requires standardized formatting. Privacy, which protects patients' health information and how we use it. And security, which outlines safeguards you must follow with your computer and campus networks. This video will focus on how the privacy and security regulations affect you. Key to the privacy regulation is knowing how protected health information, or PHI, may be used. Protected health information is individually identifiable health information, such as a patient's medical record.
We use protected health information daily for patient care, billing, research, and teaching. We need it to perform our daily work, but we must always safeguard this information to keep the patient's trust.
If patients do not believe their personal health information will remain confidential, they may be reluctant to access our healthcare facilities. Worse, they may be hesitant to share important details with us that are vital to diagnosis and appropriate care.
So, do you have any other questions for me today? Okay, well, it's great seeing you. I'm just going to have you go out to the front desk and make an appointment. We'll see you at your next appointment. Okay, great. Bye.
I thought you were going to tell her that you were depressed. Why didn't you?
Well, I was going to, but I saw Alina at the front desk. You know, she lives in my neighborhood, and I was just worried that she was going to tell everyone about my problems.
Here are ways we can safeguard PHI and maintain patient trust.
This psychiatry rotation has been very interesting. Do you remember our new patient, Tammy?
Yeah, I do.
She's the branch manager of my bank. She has always appeared to be a stable individual. I was shocked to find out that she has bipolar disorder and auditory hallucinations. She honestly thinks God is telling her to be the CEO of the bank. Can you explain this to me?
Well, I think those are interesting observations, but why don't we talk about it upstairs? There are other people here that aren't team members.
Okay.
Do not discuss confidential patient information with others who are not involved in that patient's care. Pull curtains, lower your voice, or close the door in patients' rooms.
Hi, Marilyn. How are you today?
Hi, Holly. I'm doing good. How about you?
I'm doing good. Hey, guess who I just saw on the oncology floor?
Ooh,
The mayor.
you're kidding.
Wonder what he's doing here.
No, let's go in and look.
Okay.
Do not access patient information unless you have a need to know to perform your assigned duties. Also, you may not look up information on friends, relatives, or others, even if you have their permission. Accessing confidential information without a need to know can result in corrective action up to and including termination.
Hi, you look busy.
Hi, Doctor. What brings you here today?
I need to review some records on women between the ages of 30 and 50 with diabetes.
Okay, what do you intend to do with this information?
I'm thinking about doing a research project on it.
Okay, so what I need you to do is fill out our standard research preparation form. If you'll just come with me.
Sure.
HIPAA also applies to research. Generally, a researcher must obtain the patient's authorization to use his or her PHI for research. However, a patient's PHI may be used solely to prepare research proposals if the researcher signs a research preparation form.
Got a medium hamburger mushroom pizza, the 1106, 20.
sure to verify all fax numbers before sending confidential patient information.
Hi, we have an appointment with Dr. Wilburn. Hi, what's your name? I'm Claire Smith. Do you have your insurance information? There you go. It might be just a couple minutes, but she'd like some crayons and paper to draw with. Sure. Do you want to cover? Yeah. There you go. Thank you. Thank you.
Confidential information that is no longer needed should be shredded or properly disposed immediately in the recycling bin. Here are other tips on how you can keep patient information confidential. Place patient charts face down in clinic room doors so passers-by can't read the name. Face computer screens away from where the public can see them and log off when leaving your computer. You can compromise the integrity of the network where patient information is stored by inadvertently introducing a computer virus. Only open email attachments that have been run through an antivirus program. Keep your password confidential. Do not use a password that can be easily guessed. Do not write your password down where others can find it, and do not share your password. Open email attachments only from trusted sources. Report suspicious activity to campus security and any out-of-the-ordinary computer activity to the Information Technology Help Desk. ITS will then review the current technical safeguards to determine if changes need to be made. HIPAA also provides patients with several rights. They will receive a Notice of Privacy Practices that describes how they may use and disclose their protected health information and their rights. These rights include the right to review the record and request to amend information it contains, request restrictions on how their health information is used, request private communications. For example, requests to be contacted at a certain phone number or a special mailing address. File a complaint with the Patient Relations Department or with the Secretary of Health and Human Services. An accounting of disclosures beyond treatment, payment, and healthcare operations. While these disclosures are required or permitted by law, we must now keep a record of them. Examples include, but are not limited to, reports to the Food and Drug Administration, infectious disease reporting to the state, and record review or research. It is your responsibility to be familiar with these HIPAA policies and procedures. Remember, the government can impose penalties, including fines and imprisonment under HIPAA. If you have any questions, speak with your supervisor, contact the HIPAA Privacy or Information Security Officer, or visit our website. Additional information is available from the HIPAA selection on the Internet pages.
HIPAA is far-reaching and affects many areas of our daily work, whether it be in patient care, research, education, or outreach. We all must become familiar with the many policies and procedures that govern the protection of patient information. The best advice I can give you is to live by the golden rule of confidentiality. Treat a patient's information the way you would want your own information treated. I believe protecting patient information is everyone's responsibility.
HIPAA is a federal law, and it's very important that you understand that. Tienen que entender que es una ley y que uno no puede dar información a nadie del paciente. We only can give information to the people that we work with on that day, during that time, during the shift. Que trabajamos por turnos. Like if I work 3 to 3, I'm gonna work with the people in that area. Only the people, my nursing supervisor, the people that work with that patient. Solo que trabajan con ese paciente. You cannot disclose the information to your friends or to people in the elevator or people in the hallway. No puede hablar de los pacientes. Hable de cualquier cosa, pero no de ellos. Because it's a You can even get a fine, or you can go to jail if they find out that you are doing something with the information. It's very, you have to be very careful. Like if you go to the doctor, you sign in and they're supposed to scratch your name. Nadie tiene que saber que usted está sentada esperando ver. Nadie tiene que saber el nombre suyo si alguien está ahí en la sala de espera. So this is sensitive information. So it applies to all the people who work in healthcare, los que trabajan, los proveedores de salud, including nursing assistants. And if you break the law, what's going to happen? ¿Qué puede pasar si usted rompe las reglas?
Or you go to jail or be prosecuted.
Sí, you can go to jail. Puede ir hasta la cárcel.
And get fined.
Okay, and how much is the fine? Le pueden dar una multa, dice.
Man.
1,000 or 500?
$102.1 million.
$1.5 million.
$1.5 million. They are serious about it.
Million?
Yeah.
100 to...
¿Sí la encontró en el libro? Did you find it in the book? Page 18, página 18, dice que ahí están las multas.
Yes.
If you break the law. $100 to $1.5 million.
100 to 1.5 million dollar. Prison sentences up to 10 years.
You can go to prison, puede ir ser encarcelado, and you can be there up to 10 years.
Valiendo ver.
So no hable de nadie, pues. No hable de la información médica. Don't talk about the medical information. You can talk about, something else. Okay, the guidelines are protecting the privacy. Whenever you're going to listen to the messages, you have to be in a private area. Si voy a abrir la computer y voy a hacer cosas en mi expediente, en área privada. If you're on the phone, find out who you're speaking with. You cannot give the information out like that. I will put them on hold, talk to the nurse and say, so-and-so wants to know the mother's phone number or something. Si alguien llama y dice, oh, she's my cousin, she's my mother, I need the phone number. Why you don't have it if she's too close to you? ¿Por qué tiene que llamar al hospital pidiendo el teléfono? O pidiendo datos? O pidiendo el birthday? Nobody's supposed to know your birthday, your social security number. Okay, and don't talk about the residents in a restaurant, in the cafeteria, in the elevator, en lugares públicos donde alguien puede escucharlo. If you're gonna give report, make sure you're in a room with the members of the care team. So you can talk to the doctor, you can talk to the nurse who is responsible for that patient. O sea, todos los que están concernientes a ese paciente vamos a hablar. Afuera de esto, sometimes we go home and we say, I took care of this patient and this patient had this wound and this patient blah, blah, blah. Be careful because, the information is private, es privado. Porque a veces no tenemos que hablar, pues hablamos de eso. We cannot do it. So when you greet the family in public, be discreet. Hay que ser con mucho cuidado, ¿no? Hasta las familias tal vez no quieren que sepan que tú eres la nurse de su abuelito, de su papá. And don't bring your family or friends to the nursing home or to the facility where you work. No traiga los miembros de su familia para que conozcan a sus residents. Don't bring your children, your grandchildren, your nephews, your spouse. Work is work. Family is family, yeah? make sure health information on the computer is not going to be seen by others, so you log in and log out. No deje abierto el file en la computadora, sino que tiene que salirse de la computer. You guys do that with your emails, ¿no? Ya lo hacen así. Yeah, I don't think nobody can see your emails but you. Los correos electrónicos, vea que nadie los puede ver, solo tú. And that's your email, unless you share it, like if you share it with your family. But it's supposed to be private. Todo eso es privado. They say don't give information in the emails. And don't share the information like photos or videos in the like Facebook. No puede poner videos de su paciente. Todos los lugares donde hacen, donde uno puede mandar mensajes. No photos, no videos in any social network. What's the other application? I think it's called WhatsApp, no?
WhatsApp.
I think you put information in that. La gente toma fotos, pone videos ahí. Instagram. Facebook. Social media. Those social media. It said make sure you fax to the correct place. No, if you're gonna fax something to the doctor, don't fax it to Taco Bell. Yeah? I'm gonna fax my report and you send it to McDonald's or something. Or to Starbucks. What did you send the ultrasound? I don't know, I found a number there, I put it there. It's supposed to be confidential. And don't leave anything open, like if he has a test or labs from the patient, put it upside down. I mean, cierre el file. Si es un file de papel, o sea, si es algo así. If it's in the computer, you have to log out. Tiene que salirse de la computadora. If a legal document, then you either file it, give it to the nurse, or then if you don't need it, then you have to destroy the document. Ahora todo está electrónico, pero a veces andan papeles ahí. They have files of the report. It's supposed to be all electronic, but sometimes they don't have it. Te dan copia del documento. See, they say, don't use Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. He said, what would it be an illegal use of social media in terms of confidentiality? I think taking pictures, ¿no? No pueden tomar fotos. No. Okay, documentation. La documentación del resident es un documento legal. Remember, documentation is the legal record of the care for the resident. Okay, so we have to write down everything we do for the resident. It said it guarantees clear and complete communication with the team members. Todo lo que yo escribo en el record de mi patient lo pueden ver todos los miembros del equipo. It provides a legal record of the care I did for the patient. Es un récord legal, es un documento legal que dice todo lo que yo hice con ese patient, la hora que yo estuve con el patient. It protects nursing assistant and it protects the employer. O sea, todo está documentado y te protege a ti y protege al empleador. It provides up-to-date record of the resident status. O sea, todos los días hay un expediente nuevo. Eso te da un récord de que se está progresando o si está empeorando. Entonces, ahí lo puedes ver tú todos los días. You can see the record every day. We have a company that I work with, and as soon as I get a client or a patient, they have like a little team group of team members, and we all send messages about the patient. Entonces hacemos en la aplicación WhatsApp, hablamos solo del equipo, o sea, es algo cerrado. It's only for the team members of the patient, and we send messages about, the progress of the patient, but only for the team members. Solo el equipo médico puede hablar en esa aplicación. It's legal because it's approved by the agency and it's closed, so nobody can access. You have to have a file number. You have to have the record. Recuérdense, if the nursing assistant doesn't document what you did, it wasn't done. An example would be, I showered my patient this morning, but if I forget to write it, si no lo escribí en el expediente médico, and that means you didn't do it. So I say, yeah, I did it. You can ask the patient say, yeah, she did it, but I didn't put it in the file. Como no lo escribí, ellos dicen, ella no lo hizo. You see? So everything I do for the patient, I have to put an entry or write something down. Because that's the legal document of the patient. Es el documento legal de ellos. So let's say the family wants to sue the nursing home, they can take the file to the court. Ese expediente va a ir a la corte porque tal vez hay una demanda. ¿Sí? Hay una demanda de negligencia. An example, if they want to sue the nursing home, the file gets pulled out and then they have to go to court and then they might call me because the family wants to make a lawsuit. It's not supposed to happen, but every now and then it could happen. Puede pasar. Okay, so how do we document? When do we document? ¿Cuándo va a documentar de su patient? ¿Cuándo va a escribir acerca de ellos? It says document the care immediately. When? Before you do it or after you do it?
After you do it.
When you do it?
After you do it.
After you do it. Don't say, I'm going to shower the patient. No. After you do it, you say, a shower was given to the patient. So tiene que ser, I shower the patient. Yo bañé a mi patient. So before you write, just think about, you have to be very clear. Tiene que ser muy breve y muy clara. And they want you to use the facts. Facts is factual, algo que tiene peso. Like, I can report what I see, what I hear, what the complaints are. Don't put the opinion. Oh, I think the patient fell down because there was some water in the floor. No puede decir eso porque es una opinión. Well, I saw the water. Well, but you can't blame. No podemos poner culpa a nadie. So they say, I found the patient on the floor. Yo estoy en el cuarto y el patient estaba ahí estaba sentado en el piso. Se cayó, se deslizó, no sé. I don't know if the patient slid or the patient fell. I don't know what happened. All I know that I saw the patient sitting on the floor. Estaban sentados en el piso. Eso, no puedo decir nada. Creo que se cayó porque había agua. Tú estás diciendo que el housekeeping no hizo su trabajo. So you can't put blame on the people. Then when you write it, and then the charge nurse see it and say, oh no, don't do that. You have to write exactly what you see. So lo que vemos son lo que decimos.
I saw him on the floor.
Yeah, I found him on the floor. I entered the room and he was down. Estaba sentado. I quería comer. Say, you want to use black ink if you have to write the document, because we document everything on the computer, but when the patient is fall down, we make a big document. Es un documento más grande que va al estado. We have to write down everything that happened on that day for the patient. So they give us a paper, it's called an incident report. Es un reporte cuando pasa un accidente. And we call it the incident report. Se llama así, incidente. And then when you sign it, because you're the witness, tú eres uno de los testigos que vio lo que pasó, you sign your name, you have to sign your full name. María Hernández Herrera Santiago, todos los apellidos que usted tenga, o lo que tiene ahí. How are you supposed to know? And your title, su título sería NA, ¿no? Ahorita sería NA, but after the stable you're gonna say CNA. And then you want to document, make sure that you look at the care plan, el cuadro médico, no voy a poner algo que está fuera de las órdenes del doctor. For example, if the patient is on bed rest, don't write down, the patient was walking to the back plan. ¿Sí? El cuadro médico dice bed rest. So you can't put patient walking to the bathroom, porque it doesn't match. Si el paciente es on bed rest, que tiene que estar en cama, no puede poner otra cosa, el patient está en cama ahora. Lo cambié estando acostando en un cambio. No tiene que contradecir las órdenes del doctor. ¿Qué hace? I walk the patient to the bathroom, and in the care plan it says the patient needs to use a bed pan for going to the bathroom. You don't get fired, but they come and talk to you about charting. They tell you, you didn't chart according to the plan. Did you read the care plan? Te puede poner, take you aside and say, you know what, you're documenting opposite than what we are trying to do for the patient. Este es el plan del patient y tú estás escribiendo que tú lo llevaste, que lo caminaste, y it's not what the doctor wants. The doctor wants the patient to be in the bed.
What if the resident gets up on his own?
Well, that's different. He took it upon himself. That becomes an incident report. See?
Okay.
The patient was walking. So I tell the nurse, the patient is walking, supposed to be in the bed. Okay, then write a report. And sometimes I see that the CNAs don't want to report too much because you've been writing all day long. They don't care what the doctors say. They're going to get up if they want to go to the bathroom. Okay? Okay, now we're going to go into military time. Tiempo militar. I don't know, are you guys familiar with that?
Yeah.
Yeah. No?
Yeah.
Yes? Okay, let's go to page 19. Page 19 is the military time. Are you guys all familiar with military time, or you need a little more explanation if you don't understand?
A little explanation.
Okay.
I'm familiar with it a little.
I'm not familiar also.
Okay, let's watch this and then let's talk about it. Vamos a ver esto. Okay, let's see here.
12, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12.
You guys haven't taught military time.
What?
Military time is something that you're definitely going to have to use in the Air Force. It's something that you're going to have to learn at BNT. And in the military, people are going to tell you to be certain places at certain times. So you're going to have to know what the heck they're talking about and not just stand there like, So, okay. I'm going to do my best to freehand two circles here. And this is my best way of explaining it. That circle's a little bit bigger. Okay, yeah. Let's just, I'm going to try this again. All right. Second take. So, two circles. It's good enough. On a civilian clock, they use what's called 12-hour clocks. So civilian clocks, we start at 12 o'clock and it ends at 12 o'clock. 6 at the bottom, 3, 9. Yeah, we already know what a clock is like. On a military clock, the difference, and this will help you like kind of visualize and understand what I'm saying. It starts at 0 and ends at 23. And at the bottom, it's 12. 6 is on the left, and on the right, and then 18 is on the left. So this looks a little bit confusing at first, but if you could just break it into 4 different quadrants, or like 4 different sections, I don't know why I said quadrants. But 0 to 6, 6 to 12, 12 to 6 p.m. and then 6 p.m. to midnight. So if you could just imagine this as the AM side, and this is the PM side. So on a 12-hour civilian clock, it's twice around for one day for 24 hours. So you go to 12 and you cross over to 1. On a military clock, we go from 0 to 12, and instead of going from 12 to 1, we go from 12 to 13, which is the 13th hour of the day. So we basically just count it as the hour of the day. So hopefully that makes it a little bit easier to understand. If you could just picture this being crossed right down the middle, and then this is the AM side, and this is the PM side. Except we don't use AM and PM in military time. I want to make that clear. I'm just giving you this reference so that way it's easier for you to make the adjustment. The easiest way you can make the jump from civilian time to military time, or vice versa, is to subtract 12. So if you're in the PM side, you would just subtract 12. That'll give you 6, and this is 6 p.m. 1800 is 6 p.m. So this is the easiest way I've seen it done. So if it's like 1400 minus 12, that's 2 p.m. If you're on the AM side, it's pretty much already done for you. You just add zeros basically. So 0600, 6 o'clock in the morning. And that's pretty much it. I'm going to go over how you say times because that's also important. And other than that, I mean, it's pretty easy. It's something that you should definitely learn before BMT because it's something that you're going to have to learn on a daily basis, do on a daily basis. Everything you do is going to be military time, so definitely something that you want to learn. All right, next you want to learn how to say it right. So if it's the morning times, you would say each digit individually. So 01 would be the first 2 digits, and you would say the last 2 digits as a whole. So 0100. And this pattern continues until you get to the double digits. So 0100, 0200, 0300, all the way until you get to 1000. Now 1000, the first 2 digits are obviously a whole, so you would just say 1000. You don't say 1000, okay? So just 1000, 11, 12, 13, 14, continuing on. So instead of hundreds, maybe they're telling you to be there at 6:45. It will be 06:45. You don't say 06:45 or anything crazy like that. Just 06:45. You always pronounce these in the whole, and you pronounce these individually, unless they're double digits. Then you would say 10:45. Whenever you write military times, you don't add colons. You just have just one continuous string of line of numbers. Another weird detail about the military is we write our dates a lot differently than usually. I remember in high school or like in grade school, you would write June 25th, 2016. In the military, we don't write it like that at all. There's no commas. It's not like the order is different. We would say 25 June 2016 or 25 June, like just short 16. It's like a bunch of different ways, but mainly these are like the 2 ways that you're going to see dates in the military. We get rid of the comma and like this order. This is just how we do it. So I don't know why. That's just how it is. The differences between our 2 days is that this is the long version, so we write out the whole thing June 2016, August 2016. Where it would be here June, just 3-letter abbreviation, and 16, the two number abbreviation. So it would be August 16 if it was in August, or that's just another example. Another interesting thing about time in the military is whenever we get ETAs or ETACs or estimated time of arrival, estimated time of completion, we'll say whatever the number of minutes is. So we'll be there in 25 miles. That's our ETA. So if somebody says, hey, Aaron Simmons, what's your ETA? We'll say 25 miles. I'll be there in 25 minutes. So that's just another little tidbit of information I want to know. If you guys have any questions about military time, make sure you leave them down in the comment box below. I'll see you guys next time. This is a short video, but I thought it was really important and necessary for people to watch this because it helps out a lot before you go to BMT. But yeah, if you guys have any questions, leave them down in the comment box below. I'll see you guys next time. Peace out. Hey, what's up, my soldiers? This one.
So that's a little tip. I don't know if that helps. Let's talk about it. Some of you guys might be familiar with it. There's different ways that you learn. Okay, here is the military time. ¿Sí lo miran ahí? Okay, so look at. We have the regular and the order to get. Si lo pueden ver, es amarillo. Es el tiempo regular. Like if you have a watch. I think right now people don't use watch anymore. Ya no usan los relojes, ¿no? But for the state board, you are going to require to have a watch. So es es requisito para el estado que traiga un reloj. So if you have a watch, maybe you can purchase one, I don't know, in Walmart or, different Rite Aids or Walgreens carry those, or maybe in Amazon. They do sell military watches. También venden los relojes con tiempo militar y tiempo regular. So if you want to practice, you can use those kind of watch. Or you can put your smartphone. Los teléfonos inteligentes los puede cambiar a tiempo militar para practicar. So you guys can do the same, okay? So now you see the regular time from 12 noon a mediodía, solo sumo 1. So después del 12 viene el número 13. And that is in the afternoon, that is 1 p.m. Porque aquí dice la tarde, p.m. If it's in the morning, we come down here and we say 0, 100. So if at 1, I add plus 1, it becomes a 2, 2 de la tarde. So I say after 13, it becomes a 14, las 14 horas. Esto solo es para la tarde. If you want to say morning, you just put the 2 and you add 2 zeros to the right, 1 zero to the left. Porque todo lo que es en la mañana agregamos un 0 a la izquierda. And now we say 200 hours. Y no ponemos puntitos, solo decimos las 200 horas para la mañana. If you want to move to 3 o'clock, say after 14 plus 1 is 15. 14 1 son 15. 15 hours. We say 1500 hours, las 15 horas. Acuérdense todo esto de la tarde, okay? You are only working with the afternoon. So after 15, what comes after 15?
16.
1600 hours. And so it moves all the way down to 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, all the way to 23. El tiempo militar en la tarde empieza de 13 hasta las 23 horas. Todo es por la tarde. So at midnight, we start again to 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, tiempo militar. So we go to the morning. Y en la mañana decimos la 1 de la mañana son las 100 horas. 0, 100 hours. We don't put the little dots. And we put hours. 0, 100 hours. Porque esto es de mañana. A las 2 de la mañana decimos 0 to 100 hours. So police, the police, the military, the nurses, they use military time. So if you want to practice, because the state board has questions about this, hay preguntas de este tiempo militar. Usted puede ya empezar a practicar. They might have a test question for you, but start practicing. This is very simple. No es nada del otro mundo. Sí, 3 de la mañana, 03, las 300 horas. Y lo de común es que le agregan un 0, miren, a la izquierda y 2 ceros a la derecha. So it's 3 a.m., you put 2 zeros to the right, 1 zero to the left. You see cómo lo van viendo, 4 de la mañana, 400 hours. So we don't say a.m., we say hours, whether it's morning or whether it's evening or nighttime. Ya no ponen AM o PM. AM o PM solo es regular time, tiempo regular. 5 a.m., 500 hours. Why they do it this way? Because they say the information has to be at the right time. A lot of nurses, they put 4, and they don't know if it's 4 a.m. or 4 p.m. Entonces, dice, puso 4, pero aquí no sabemos si es de las 4 de la mañana o las 4 de la noche. Entonces, para que no haya confusión, entonces ponen 400 hours, we know it's going to be a.m. If they put 1600 hours, it's going to be p.m. ¿Se me entiende? So, from 4. Now, the other tip is like, let's say you heard 4 o'clock. Okay, the guy says to 4, you add 12. The rule of 12. Ahí la regla 12. Que a 4 le agrega 12. Entonces, 4 back to regular time, you take away 12. So, si quiero regresar al tiempo regular, quito 12. Si quiero ir al tiempo militar, agrego o sumo 12. So, if I say 9 p.m., 9 p.m. plus 12, 21. 2100. Esas son las reglas del tiempo militar. For some of you might be confusing, for some of you might be very simple. But this is just practice, 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 practice. They do sell watches with the military time. You can put your smartphone in the military time if you want to practice. Because there are questions in the State Board about military time. ¿Sí? Vienen tiempos, preguntas de esto. So you must...
If I set my...
Yes,
sorry, if I set my Apple Watch to military time, can I use that? Or does it have to be like a watch? Like a...
They want you to have a watch like this, with the second hand. With the little, some of you have a watch like this, but it has like a smart, I think Apple phone or something. It's an Apple Watch, yeah.
Yeah, we could use that. Or do we have to actually get one of these?
No, they want you the regular one.
Oh, okay.
Sorry. No electronics for the State Board. I don't know why they make it difficult.
Yeah.
It's a difficult situation.
That's funny.
I don't see the people using watches anymore.
Because for translation.
For translation?
Yeah.
Oh. Okay.
That one.
Oh. Because I think when you have a watch, you can do more with the watch, right? More than just the time. You can do, I think you can even answer your messages or something. It has internet. No, they won't allow any smartphones and any smart devices for the board. No les permiten los teléfonos inteligentes ni los relojes inteligentes. You cannot bring your notes. You cannot only bring yourself, your ID, Social Security, and 2 pencils, number 2. Tiene que traer usted su número, su ID, your Social Security, y 2 pencils. You have to come with the uniform. Ese día tiene que venir con 2 lápices, su Social Security, su ID del estado de California. What else? That's it, your uniform. Huh? You take the test when you finish, like 1 or 2 weeks after you finish the program.
How many hours for test?
Test is usually 2 hours for the written and maybe half an hour for the skills. And I believe it's $100. Son $100. Has anybody got that information when you guys come to school? No.
Yeah, you get it to us.
Yes. Yes. Okay, but some of you did get it. Algunos de ustedes sí lo recibió.
Yes, I got it as well.
Okay, so you
It
understand.
also tells us in the little book, right?
They have, in the little booklet, it's telling you everything. That little booklet that I gave you guys, the skills book. The skills book. Sí, si tienen el libro de los skills, I think there is a page that tells you all the information. It's important that you read that information for your state board. The state board has 70 questions, 70 preguntas. It's information on page 12, página 12 de su libro. If you have it, you should have it. And they have little sample questions, but the questions are more in the internet. You can go CNA, State Okay, any questions on that? ¿Preguntas de eso? Elvira Montoya, you have a question?
Page 12 at the little book.
In the little book.
Uh-huh.
Page 12. Do you see it?
Yes.
Okay. Supposed to have information about the state board. Are you looking at this book? This book. This book.
That's question for the state board?
Yes. It's 12, page 12. Okay, so remember, HIPAA law applies to electronic documentation. La ley HIPAA aplica a todo lo que escribe en la documentación en la computer, electronic documentation. So nobody's supposed to see what you are writing. So if you are working with the computer at work, they don't want you to use the internet for your personal use. So an example, looking at your bank account or something, dice que la computadora del trabajo es solo para documentation for the patient, la documentación de los pacientes, no para estar chequeando cosas en el internet. That's why we have our phones. So usamos nuestros teléfonos. When you work there, you're not supposed to be using your phone unless you are taking your break. Si está en su receso, pues usted puede usar el teléfono. But during patient care, they don't want us to use the phone. Dice que se concentre en su trabajo y que no use el teléfono. Because nowadays everybody has a phone. Está más accesible, todos tenemos teléfono. We do a lot with our phones. I mean, we pay bills, we look at our phone, we look at our accounts. Está haciendo muchas cosas con el teléfono. I mean, if you guys are familiar with the phones, I mean, it's crazy that we pay for our phones a lot of money. Son bien caros los teléfonos. The thing now is $1,000 a phone, no? It costs more than the computer at home. No vale más que la computadora en su casa. You do more with that, with what we have in our hands. It's a computer. Okay, the last one that I want to talk about is the MDS, and that is on page 20. MDS is a detailed guideline form. Es una forma, una guideline for evaluating, assessing residents in the nursing home. Es una forma para evaluar a los patients cuando ellos ingresan a los nursing homes. It's at least to what to do if the residents' problems are identified. So it's an assessment, una evaluación para ellos. You see it on page 20, en página 20?
Yes.
It's called MDS, stands for Minimum Data Set. And the nurse has to do the form, but we have to contribute to the form by giving them information. So how many days do you need as soon as the patient comes in the nursing home that have to be submitted?
14 days?
14 días les dan para completar, porque es un history, it's like a detail de todos sus problemas médicos and how to help the resident. If the resident takes a fall or has a stroke or something big happens, they have to make a new one. Si cambia su condición, entonces hay que hacer otra evaluación con el paciente. First, when they come into the nursing home, it has to be detailed and it has to be reviewed. How many months? ¿Cada cuántos meses estamos haciendo un review de esta forma?
3 months.
3 months, they say. And then we have to write a new one. It is a major change. A major change, it can be a fall, it can be a stroke, it could be the patient is going to have an amputation, kidney problems, diabetes problems. Si algo grande pasa con su patient, we have to do another form. But we contribute by reporting the problems that the patient has. So, tenemos que reportar los problemas que is the resident improving or he is getting worse? I mean, is he getting better? When they come into the nursing facility, they're supposed to be stable. They cannot get worse just because they come into the nursing home. Tienen que ellos mejorar, no pueden empeorar. Their patients have to get better, not worse. Okay, I'm gonna stop here so you guys, if you guys have any questions. I think we moved did we move too quickly or you guys are okay? Yes.
Yo no tengo libros, ¿dónde los? A mí no me dieron libros.
¿A quién no le dieron libro?
A Elvira Montoya.
Elvira Montoya, ¿vino a la escuela? ¿Did you come to school?
Sí, y fui a la escuela y todo, pero no me dieron libros.
You vino a la orientation?
Sí.
You came to the orientation?
Sí, vine.
Porque aquí no la di yo. Porque
es que yo fui el miércoles porque no pude ir el martes y fue el miércoles.
Elvira, yo hice el PT and I didn't see you.
What was done?
I didn't see you, so I can tell the office. Can you come to school to pick up the book?
Okay, mañana.
Okay, come to school to pick up the book, okay?
Okay, está bien, gracias.
Okay, thank you. Okay, any other questions?
We can leave it?
Yes, you guys are good to go, and I'll see you guys tomorrow.
Okay, thank you.
Una pregunta con,
Yes.
Con el reloj.
Yes.
Quería saber, el reloj se utiliza para apuntar las horas cuando vas a documentar lo que haces.
Yes, we write all the time what time we are doing the charting. Let's say I go and see a patient and I start at 10 in the morning and I finish at 2 o'clock, but I cannot put 2 o'clock. What am I supposed to put when I finish? It's 2 o'clock. They say miss military time.
1400.
1200.
1200?
No, because
Oh, 14.
he said 14. Yeah.
14.
12 you add
2 more.
right more. Yeah, 2 o'clock, 12 plus 2.
1400.
1400 in the afternoon.
This in the computer, the bookkeeping or the payroll is not going to pick it up. Le dijo, you made a mistake and the computer rejects the document. Si no le escribo correcto, rechaza el documento, entonces it looked like I didn't do my charting. It looks like, sí,
Okay, gracias.
I'll see you tomorrow at 4.
Bye, ma'am. Take care. Good evening. Bye, everyone.
Buenas noches, gracias.
Buenas noches.
Are we doing it again tomorrow?
Finally done. Yay! My 4 hours done. So she said that maybe it's much better like you have a military watch because narcissists and some others is using military time during the work, and even going to take the exam. Yeah, so she said you can buy that one in Amazon or whatever, at least you can practice. But yeah, but when you're going to that state board exam, you cannot bring anything. Just bring your social security, bring your two pencil number 2, and yourself and your ID with uniform. Huh? I think no. Also, maybe you can have clock, but they don't allow the kind of electronic watch. Oh, wait, Daddy, ha? Just wait for a while, Daddy, ha? Cody. Dan boy. Ganda Gaming, Baduy Community Official. Baduy, ano siya? Omi 123. Channel.